Kind of a wild one last evening. But we're glad we're all back and reconvened to talk about it again today here on a Wednesday. Beautiful Wednesday now. The weather's broke, and it's supposed to get into the 70s today. So excited about that. Brewers get a win yesterday. We'll hear more coming out of Packers camp. Sean Merriman, Lights Out, is going to be joining us, the former linebacker for the Chargers. He's going to be here today. We got all kinds of good stuff today. If you want to get hold of us via the program, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can also find us, if you choose to do so, on, say, Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. If you want to give us a shout there, you can. Again, at Bill_Michaels. You can also track us down via our buddy Wisco Grant, at Wisco Grant. Grant Bill's producing the program. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Instagram, facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us over on YouTube. Subscribe there. Always appreciate it when you do. Subscribe, and when the show comes on the air, we'll just pop up right there for you. And if you want to watch, great. If you don't, that's fine. But it's absolutely free, and we appreciate it when you subscribe and follow it and like it and all that kind of good stuff. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Same thing on the Twitch app, same thing on the Kick app, same thing over on LinkedIn. You can find us there. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. And the email, the website, simply thebillmichaels.com. Then you've got on the app, WOZN Madison. By the way, the WOZN, the Zone Madison app, great way to stay with us, that and YouTube today, because we do have an early Brewers baseball game. The podcast, After the Fact, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you favorite podcasts are, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. That is the number to text us, and the text lines are open. So there you have it. Good stuff all the way around. Grant, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I got to do two of my favorite activities, both old man activities last night. I got to sit in my recliner and watch a baseball game. Okay. And then I also got to pivot it towards the patio door to watch a storm roll in, a thunderstorm last night. That was, it doesn't get any better than that, Bill.
Did you have the severity out there? Did the sirens and everything go off?
No sirens, no hail. There was a couple big gusts of wind, but for the most part, it was pretty quick. It just got real dark. It rained pretty hard, and then it was over. But I saw over towards your side of the state or the city, there was hail and there was alarms and a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, Walworth County got hit, and I think just north of me. But it was watching last night. Lost power for a brief, 5 minutes before it came back on. But it was really weird, and I've seen this before, obviously. But last night got dark. I mean, end of the world dark. And then it got still. I mean, nothing was moving. And what I noticed was I went on my patio last night. I was down in Franklin, Wisconsin. I was down at council meetings last night. And just kind of doing some information gathering, and that's neither here nor there. But I was driving home. So I'm driving east to west, and I can see it coming. I can see the front, what they call the shelf cloud of this thing. And I see it coming. I get home, and all of a sudden you hear, and the sirens are going off. And there's not a lick of wind, none. And then it started to rain, and then you could hear it starting to lightly hail. And it wasn't big. It was, pea-size hail. But nothing. So I went inside, I turned on the TV, I'm watching some of the local news stations, and they're talking about these frontline winds and all the winds that we were having in the area. And one of the areas was just west of here and north of the highway. And so it was out in Summit and out in Oconomowoc, which is not far from me, maybe, 5-10 miles. And then down in Walworth County, they had some that was moving south. And then just north of here, they had some really, really severe weather. All I got was a brief amount of rain, a ton of lightning and thunder, but it didn't get windy until the rain hit. Then it just blew like crazy for a second, and then it went back to being perfectly still. It was weird. It was a weird storm. Very surreal last night and very cool. I'm kind of a weather junkie. I mean, I've always said if I wouldn't have done this for a living, I might have become a meteorologist because I'm into that kind of stuff. And so I'm watching it, and then I'm watching the radar, and I called Kristen. I said, hey, it's coming your way. Are your sirens going off? She said, no, we're fine. And then within 5 minutes, I get a text back going, "Oh my God, it's hitting here." So yeah, everybody that got hit, man, we hope that whatever tornadoes did touch the ground didn't do anything but churn up land, and hopefully there's no major damage and everybody's safe. But man, what a crazy night last night. What a wild one weather-wise. So
you mentioned the sirens going off, by the way. Funny thing that happened on Saturday in Coon Valley is at noon, the noon whistle goes off. If you're ever in towns like that across the state, a town up where I grew up, Colfax did the same thing, where every day at noon they would blow the tornado siren for 10, 15 seconds or whatever. And I was around a couple people at the event. They're like, "What's going on? Is there a storm?" And I looked at my watch because I'm I grew up in a smaller town. I'm like, "Oh, it's just the old noon whistle."
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned the tornado sirens. It made me laugh.
Nothing to see here. Everything is fine. Please be calm. Yeah.
Yep.
It was all good. So we did have a little bit of weather that rolled through the area, but for the most part, not a bad way to go. Not a bad way to go. So anyway, that being said, hopefully everybody's okay. We're all good. You got a chance to enjoy some Brewers baseball, and this really hit after the Brewers game. So the Brewers, and not that we had it, down there, but it was like you watch the Brewers game and then you watch Mother Nature for about, an hour, whether it was approaching or passing, and then you were kind of good. But anyway, that being said, everything is good. We're also going to hear from up in Green Bay today. The coach is pretty much done speaking for the most part, but we'll kind of catch up on everything that was stated. We can go back to some of the things that Halfley talked about, which I thought were rather interesting, and we got into a little bit of it yesterday. We had Jim Ozarski, by the way, yesterday. Fantastic. Breaking down the Bucs season, the offseason, everything regarding what went on from the end of last year to the beginning of this year throughout the season, and then what's coming in this postseason. So it was if you missed that last hour, if you're a Bucs fan, I encourage you to go and listen to that last hour of the show yesterday. I really do. If you have any kind of Bucs-ism in you, because we covered everything. We covered everything from the roster to the coaching staff to what happened, why it happened, speculation, and then, obviously his interview with Dame about being happy in Milwaukee, on and on and on. So we did all of that yesterday. So
Jim O and you, that was one of my favorite hours of your show that I've listened to in a long time. Yeah. Jim was awesome. And it was it's not like he had any huge bits of breaking news or insider information. Just for the full hour, he would sprinkle in, ownership was kind of thinking this, and Dane mentioned this, like nothing earth shattering, just really good storytelling. I really appreciated Jim.
Yeah, yesterday. It was. And there were things that you got yesterday that either you didn't know or you kind of knew, but you didn't know details. So yesterday in an hour one-on-one, sitting down and talking about everything, even, whether it's on the court or behind the scenes, you got more insight. And like you said, it was interesting that, management was coming down and there was a contemplation of job changes at the time. We talked about his sit down with Dame, about how Dame said, "Look, why he is the way he is and why he doesn't look happy." And when he emphatically said, "No, I'm really happy. I just, it's working out everything in the offseason with his kids and his family and everything." And so when you got a sense of that, you're like, "Oh, okay." There was a lot of those moments yesterday where you went, "Oh, okay, I get it. I get it now." For the perception that you might have had, it's probably a different perception, and it completely eliminates the discussion that Stephen A. Smith had in regards to he'd be happier in Miami, which was a completely ludicrous thing to say, but it dispelled all of that went so national, which still put the spotlight on Milwaukee and on the Bucs organization. So we still won't know what happened between Terry Stotts and the organization and such, and why Terry ended up leaving. There was some speculation. There was some good insight there, but and then obviously, Doc Rivers in this coming off season, and we talked about what's upcoming. So, all of that. It was great stuff. Great stuff. So today we're also going to talk with Sean Merriman, who is lights out. He played linebacker for the Chargers. We're going to talk with him about coming in as a rookie in the OTAs and the mini camps and all the rookie camps and all that kind of stuff. But also he's got some MMA stuff coming up. Always love to preview it whenever he gets an opportunity to. So we're going to get into that discussion today as well. Am I missing anything? there anything we got coming up that I didn't?
We're going to talk with J.R. Radcliffe, Brewers
Excellent.
at 12:30. I just love J.R. anytime that he's on. He can talk about anything in detail. He's just really clever. So we'll do him at 12:30. And then whatever happens, I know we have some little bits of Packers audio that we could probably still get to and get caught up on rookie minicamp. So that's probably what we got on deck today.
So we got all of that coming up today. And a lot of this stuff we have not, because there's been so much. It was the end of the postseason for the Bucs. It was obviously the Brewers and the Cubs and stuff that we started to get into last week. And today's Wednesday, and we took an hour for Bucs, kind of the synopsis of the Bucs season yesterday. We have not talked a lot of Packers. And I know that there's people out there that want to get into the discussion of maybe what it is you've heard. So there's a lot of stuff there that I thought was interesting that we really haven't had a chance to kind of expound upon. So I want to do that today. So, and we can, obviously never talk too much Packers anyway, but I want to get into a lot of that today because it was funny because yesterday I was at this council meeting and I'm listening to a lot of people. They had a giant pro-Palestinian contingent there yesterday, and then there was other things going on, and I was there for a specific reason, but everybody that I met came up and they go, "Oh, I've got this, I've got that," and then they go, "So what do you think of the Packers draft? What do you think about this guy? How do you think they're going to use this guy?" And all I wanted to say was, we're going to talk about it, so we'll get into all that kind of conjecture today as well. So a lot of stuff coming out today, and we'll get into all of that coming up here shortly. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway. Great Lakes Dragaway, a stop on the motorcycle ride this year. We're excited about that. They want to have us down. They're going to have some drag racing going on down there on that newly resurfaced track that they have, by the way. But this week, they've got the Mother's Day weekend going on. They got the early bird stuff going on. So if you're going to be down there running the street rods, they have the Extreme Streetcar Brawl coming up this weekend. The Extreme Streetcar Brawl coming up on Saturday. Sunday is Mother's Day, so they're closed on Mother's Day. But for the Mother's Day weekend, the Extreme Streetcar Brawl. And they've got that going on. So a whole lot more. So great place, Great Lakes Dragaway. The 2024 season passes are on sale right now. Call them 262-302-2138, 262-302-2138, or go to GreatLakesDragaway.com. That's GreatLakesDragaway.com.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing, and it makes it comfortable for the life we live, which is an active one.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside.
For the first time, our whole house actually feels like the same climate.
And no drafts. It's a game changer.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella, and if you order today, you get 0% interest for up to 60 months. When it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows and doors, you want to be confident about your decisions. With Pella Design Works, you can see what your home could look like before you buy. Black frame windows or white, vinyl, wood, or fiberglass. Bring your vision to life and rest assured it's the perfect style for your home. Right now, get 0% interest-free financing for up to 60 months when you order by May 10th. Set your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 5/10/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. We continue on. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Robert's Specialty Meats. Today's one of those days where the weather is going to get a little better. It's going to get a little warmer, going to get a little nicer. Got some rain coming in tomorrow, I guess, or overnight tonight. But today is grilling day. Robert's Specialty Meats. Today is ribs on a stick day. Today is ribs on a stick day. That's in my agenda. I got some running around to do, and Robert's Specialty Meats in Waukesha is one of them. Heading down there, ribs on a stick. That's meal tonight, and then a little more work. But that's it. I'm going to sit down and probably watch some of the NBA and the NHL coming up tonight. Sit down and watch some of that. So we're going to kind of grill and take it easy and just relax and get a bunch of work done. Hey, a reminder, speaking of relaxing, tomorrow we were supposed to be at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. We are going to push it back a week. So I just want you to know we're going to be there on the 16th, not tomorrow. For those that were thinking about maybe heading down for some lunch with us tomorrow, not going to happen tomorrow. They had some internet issues. Like anything, when you open up a brand new venue, you go through some bumps and in the road. And they had a couple. And they said, look, we'd rather get this right and not have you, have a problem than get down here and realize we got to, rig stuff up and really have some patchwork stuff. And they said, let's just make it right. And I said, that's fine. We're not written in cement. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're not going to be there next week. We're not going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be there next week. Next week on the 16th, next Thursday, we're going to be at Potawatomi Hotel Casino, going to be down there giving away a big screen TV, compliments of our friends of ABC Audio Video in honor of their giant, massive screen that they have down there. So we're looking forward to that. So today it's relaxed, nothing to get up for tomorrow. Don't have to tear the studio down. So tonight it is Robert's Specialty Meats in Waukesha. That is on the agenda this evening. Can't wait. So Brewers got a win last night. There is the Rhys Hoskins case for putting him in the lineup every day. He had a dinger last night. And I saw part of the game. I didn't see all of it. I caught the dinger and a couple other, innings here and there. I was kind of listening to it, paying attention to it last night on my phone. But Brewers snapped the losing streak. Now, when you talk about the character here, you get a win today, all is right with the world. You lose today, and you've lost 4 out of your last 5. and you start talking more and more about the losing side of things. You got St. Louis obviously getting ready to come in to American Family Field. That begins tomorrow. For those that didn't know, it's a 4-game series. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Mother's Day at American Family Field. And then Pittsburgh comes to town before the Brewers get another day off. So the Brewers get a win last night, 6-5. They ended up knocking off the Royals. And, it was good to see Koenig get the win, by the way. And you got to McGill getting the save last night. What are they going to do, Grant? What do you think? It's just closer by committee at this point, right?
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And now Uribe's down in AAA. I want to know what has happened and what Pat Murphy's thought process is with Abner Uribe, because It was his closer job to lose at first, and then he started getting used earlier, and now it's McGill, which is fine. I kind of want to know Murphy's thought process a little bit,
I think the thought process is he can't throw strikes consistently. And as a closer, you have to throw strikes consistently. And if you're not getting strikeout, we talked with, was it Tim Dillard? We had on and we were asking him about Uribe closing, and he said, well, he can throw close to 100, but if you're not getting strikeouts in big moments and you're walking batters, and he talked to, I think it was Tim Dillard. It was either him. We had a couple of the broadcasters on, but it was one of the broadcasters that brought it up. Now, I don't know if it was Jeff Levering, but somebody had said, if you don't throw consistent strikes as a closer, you're not going to be a closer very long, because you have to go in and throw strikes, and in big moments, you have to get strikeouts. And he's not getting that.
And I just think Murphy hates wasted pitches. I think he detests free bases.
Yes.
Like, I could see him just being, we're putting guys on base. I think it bothers him more than it would bother Counsell or other managers.
I agree.
Even the walks.
I agree. I think it galls him. So I would agree with that. That he and again, I've seen this time and again where you have guys that have really good stuff, but they can't control it. And they don't have that extra pitch, and they don't sometimes have a way of getting out of it. And here's the other thing. If you throw Aroldis Chapman found this out, because he was remember, he was 109 miles an hour. It was just insane how fast he could throw a baseball, but he throws it on a string. All you had to do was, after the first swing or two, was time it up. And once you timed him up, balls were flying out of the ballpark. He'd give up big home runs. And it's because he didn't have much movement on it, and he never had that rotational snap in his game where he had like the big breaking ball, or he had just incredible off-speed stuff. Because when you throw that fast, if you can throw a changeup with break, then you're decimating hitters. And he never became that guy. He had all the ability, but he never became that guy. He just didn't have that ability to throw that off-speed pitch that, like Freddie Peralta learned the off-speed pitch, which it changed Freddie's game. As soon as he learned how to throw the off-speed stuff, the change-up with break, he became a completely different pitcher. Aroldis Chapman has never really mastered that. And so throwing 109 miles an hour, it doesn't really matter. Uribe, same thing. If you're going to throw 100, that's fine. But everybody's throwing 95, 96, 97 now, so who cares? But if you're throwing it on a string, or you can't throw it over the plate consistently to get ahead in counts to get guys fishing, you're no good. And that's what he's learning, is that, you can come in, heat it up a little bit, have some, nice outings. But as far as being a consistent closer, it's not going to happen. And I think he found that out. Contreras last night, 2 for 5. His average still at 331, by the way. He's still batting 331 with an on-base percentage of 406, which is phenomenal. God, that guy's having a hell of a season. He has been an absolutely amazing signing. An amazing signing since they picked him up. And the guy plays every day. Every day. He's just a complete junkie. Turang last night, 2 for 5, which was nice. And nobody's really talking, and I'm guilty of this, but for all the things that we have pointed out along the way, nobody's talking about the turnaround that Turang has had from what he had offensively last year to this year. Do you talk about it much on your show?
Turang's quantum leap? Yeah, a little bit.
I mean,
how would they be doing this year without the way that he's played up until now?
Right.
Like, they've needed him to contribute, which is insane considering how, he just wasn't a factor at the plate last year. He couldn't hit.
He was a hole. He was a guy that where you said, well, at least he plays good defense. That was the guy. That was how you kind of looked at him. And just, okay, well, there you go. But now he's an unbelievable asset. He has just had a complete metamorphosis with a slugging percentage right now of 407. And like I said, 2 for 5 again last night. Hoskins going yard last night, so good for him. Albeit and I know people get pissed off when you talk about average as opposed to OPS, but still, it means something when you're batting 218. That's why I think using Rhys Hoskins in more of a platoon, I think it's hurting him more than it's helping him. Just put him out there every day, let him be a leader, and let him kind of figure it out. Because you want this guy's power in the lineup. When he connects, he can connect. Now, if he goes on a 2 for 30 streak, yeah, you know what? You can maybe go back and say, okay, I'm going to justify the platoon. But right now, just let the guy hit. I think he's trying to make the most of every at-bat, and which you should, but he's not the everyday guy. And I'm of the ilk of just let this guy play. Just let him play now. Ortiz last night, 1 for 3 as well. Bowers comes in, gets a base knock. So that was solid. Churio last night has the average out now up to 225. It looks like he's at least making some better contact. So maybe he'll swing his way out of the funk that he was in. So not a bad night last night. But like I said, I didn't get a chance to see as much of it as I wanted to. But still, I caught the Rhys Hoskins home run last evening. So good stuff. Let's do this. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. When we come back, I do want to talk some Packers. We're going to hear some of the things that I want to go back to what Adam Stenavich said, the Packers offensive coordinator. I want to go back to some of the things that he had to say because we haven't talked about it a whole lot. We kind of heard it, we played it, made a couple of notes, and then we moved on. And I want to go back to some of this stuff. And it's still the offseason, I understand that, but I want to go back to some of this stuff and kind of rediscuss some things because there's people that have opinions on this, and I do respect that. So I want to make sure that we try to get a few phone calls on it as well. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Burn Pit Barbecue, burnpitbbq.com. And at Burn Pit, veteran-owned, based here in the state of Wisconsin, started in their garage down in Racine. Started in their garage and started, kind of giving it out to the neighbors. And the neighbors loved it. And they're like, oh, you got to do this. And then they started getting a little bigger. And then there were trade shows and they got a little bigger. And now they're considered one of the best veteran-owned, mid-sized, small market, or small businesses in the country. And they're just super great guys. Greg and Ben are. They're just wonderful people and veterans themselves, obviously. And it's just a terrific company. And it started here because of you. Go to burnpitbbq.com, whether it's the sauces, the hot sauces, or the rubs that they have. All the different rubs for all the different seasonings. They've got it all. That's burnpitbbq.com. That's burnpitbbq.com.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May. Score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries. 5 times the entries on drawing days and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes? Slugger, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. On this fine Wednesday, the weather is past, the sun is out, a little bit of damage cleanup, and we're all back right with the world. If you're looking for a place to go, relax, we have tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, they have entertainment, live music, down at theniceash.com, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha, theniceash.com. And whether it's there for the fine bourbons and the whiskeys, you can go in and get a craft beverage, just get a regular beverage for that matter, or you want to go in and check out the humidor. They have 13 different flavors of hookahs, whether it's sitting in the big plush leather chairs up front or around the bar or a table in the back, whatever it happens to be, it's the place for you. Great vibe down there too. Really cool vibe. That's theniceash.com, theniceash.com, The Nice Ash Cigar Bar, 323 West Main Street, right there in downtown Waukesha, that continues to be revitalized. Downtown Waukesha. Good stuff from them. So Adam Stenavich, I want to get into some of his comments. Adam Stenavich, the offensive coordinator, says there is a difference that he has seen with Jordan Love so far this year versus last year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just to see how much he's grown over the last year has been awesome. Fun to just be around him, watch him grow as a leader, as a player, and really take those big steps that he did last year to get us where we went. But yeah, I'm expecting more of the same. Him coming in, he's done a great job so far. So it'll be fun watching him improve this year.
Now, you're probably going, what do you mean? I mean, what do you mean difference between last year and this year? Last year, I would guess you're coming in, you've got that confidence, you've been in that building, but you're coming into that building as the man, you know? And now you know the pressure's on you to perform. Everybody's now looking to you. You know, there is no Aaron Rodgers safety blanket. There's, no Aaron Rodgers presence, aura, cloud, whatever it is you want to say, hanging over your head. Here you are. You're the man. And there was you got off to a fast start, and then there was some bumps in the road and a lot of doubt. And then you closed strong. So this year you come in, you're the man. You walk through, you like kick the door open and you're walking through with swagger, not arrogance, swagger, confidence. So I get it. I get why there's a difference. There has to be. And I would expect that out of Jordan Love. He also says, but in that same breath, Jordan Love still has the same work ethic and now even better leadership.
No, same guy. That's the best thing about Jordan. He comes into work every day. He's the same guy and just ready to be the best player that he can be and help the team be the best that they can be. So he never wavers from that. It's fun to watch.
He also gets into, Adam Stenavich does, he talks about the difference in the offense last year versus this year. And the reason being is because last year you weren't sure about Bakhtiari. You were kind of mixing and matching and shuffling guys around. You were trying to figure out who had it, who didn't, who was committed and who wasn't. Josh Neiman. You obviously, you had a running back core that you thought was strong. You had the unknown of two, not one, but two tight ends. Then you lose Tyler Davis and your depth guy. You've got what you thought was going to be a decent wide receiving core, and then you lose Christian Watson again, and you were looking for the emergence. So you had a ton of shuffling going on that offense. The difference is now you have Josh Jacobs. You pick up a running back in the draft. You still have A.J. Dillon. Your two tight ends are solid. You're getting Tyler Davis back. You think Christian Watson's hamstring seems to be better. At least they maybe have figured it out. And you kind of get a sense as to what your offensive line is and will be. Big difference from last year versus this year.
It's night and day because, like last year going into the draft, we had maybe three receivers on the roster. We had two tight ends on the roster. So it was just one of those things where you didn't really know what direction you could go yet because you didn't know who's going to be on your team and what skill set they had. And even going into camp and going into the season, it was the same deal. Like, how much can you put on these guys' plates and allow them to go out and execute? So now everyone has a year under their belt, so to speak. It's been great to just know what these guys are good at, what they need to improve on, and just allow them, to just go ahead and be the best players that they can be.
So, and he's right, because you had a lot of unknowns. You didn't even know when you went to the offseason whether your quarterback was good or bad. I mean, fully. So this year is just a whole different level of confidence walking through the door. Now, where there's confidence, also don't forget, it comes with expectations. Because what you need to do, what you want to do, what you prefer to do, and what fans are begging for is the way the season ended, getting the wins, getting into the postseason, kicking the hell out of the Cowboys, putting up one hell of a fight against the team that ultimately went to the Super Bowl out in their house. I mean, what you're hoping to do is pick up where you left off from last year.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're just coming in, and I wouldn't say everyone's just got to have the same mindset of improving, starting from the foundation, but then being able to, take those steps faster than we did last year and really improve a lot.
Now, one of the mainstays has been, as much as, you talk about Aaron Rodgers, it was David Bakhtiari. And David Bakhtiari last year, you really were, that first game, he looked good. You thought, oh my God, at least the left tackle position solidified, for everything else that's going on in this world and all the craziness and all the different things that can happen with young wide receivers, young tight ends, a young quarterback that's taking things over, blah, blah, blah. At least you had that stability. And then after game one, you never saw him again. So there is a difference this year with a different offensive line. It's younger. You get dramatically younger again because of really the exodus of an older player, but it's different not having David Bakhtiari in the building.
Yeah, I mean, it's always sad when stuff like that happens. Obviously, he was such a huge part here for such a long time, and a phenomenal player and phenomenal leader. So it's just been different. Like last year, other guys had to step up and basically take the room over, and that's where you saw guys like Elton and Josh Myers really, just become the leaders of the room. So that was fun to watch from that aspect. Obviously, losing David wasn't fun, but that's one thing about football. You just got to move on and play with the guys you have and make the best of it.
So you lose Bakhtiari, you're moving on. And let's be honest, okay? In the grand scheme of things, right? In the grand scheme of things, you didn't really have Bakhtiari anyway, right? He was there for a game. I mean, his presence was there, but when he was off rehabbing, he wasn't there like all the time. And he wasn't, a coach on the field or anything like that. So now you got to move on. And then your first round draft choice is a guy named Jordan Morgan. Jordan Morgan, that's all he's played as left tackle. Most seem to think that he would transition into a guard because he's still somewhat of a raw talent. But there is the decision to make. Do you put him at guard? Do you put him at tackle? But the Packers know one thing. They believe they got a football player. That's first and foremost. And two, they really believe that he has got all the raw talent to play either tackle or guard. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, he's got good movement skills. Just watching him out there, he's natural on the edge. He looks comfortable out there. There's obviously some technique stuff we got to clean up, just like anybody. But I'm excited to work with him and just watch him and see. I wouldn't say he's a tackle. I wouldn't say he's a guard. I just want to see where he fits best for us and with our best five out there. So that may be a tackle. It might not be. But I'm excited to work with him and just see you can see his athleticism when he's out there. He's a pretty talented guy.
Then there's the discussion of arm length and all that kind of stuff. When you get into the technical aspect of what your prototypical tackle should be on the edge with your arm length and your hands and everything. And, Stenavich talked a little bit about that, about working with Jordan on his hands and both working on pass and run blocking, so to speak.
I think it'll take a little bit of time, but, if you're intentional about it, to really focus on improving things like that, I think he can, get that fixed.
Do you know why he did it that way? Did they not teach inside techniques?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what he was coached in the past. So it's just something we'll just have to work on here.
Then when you start moving guys around, there was some talk about, Josh Myers and what's going to happen at center. And do you move Zach Tom in, who can play it admirably? And then obviously you start to look at Zach Tom's perspective, where he would rather be a tackle. You get more money, but you got to move guys around, and they keep talking about putting the best five out there. So when it comes to the offensive line, first of all, the protection of your franchise quarterback. Secondly, being able to run the football. And thirdly, are you putting your best five on the front? What do they feel like they want to do? Now, granted, at this point in time, you get a sense, maybe, but you've got a lot of time for guys to work themselves into roles. So do they want to keep Zach Tom at the right tackle position along with Elton Jenkins over at the left guard? Because if you have just, one guy changing space, if Sean Ryan is your guard, your right guard, and Elton Jenkins your left guard, Josh Myers, could he be challenged at center? Do you keep Zach Tom at that right tackle? And then does Jordan Morgan begin to vie for that spot at the left tackle position? What do you want to keep Zach Tom where he is? Do you want to not mess with your entire offensive line, but just one spot?
The fun thing about where we're at right now with the O-line is you can look at it, and there's a lot of different combinations of guys, whether tackle, guard, center, whoever, that you can move around and still have a pretty good O-line. So I'm excited to kind of see how it all shakes out. Obviously, I think Elton's best position is guard or center. And then Zach, he seems to be pretty good on the edge at right tackle. So we'll kind of see how it all shakes out. And you got other guys in there who are going to be fighting for spots too. So it's going to be a pretty interesting battle. He
talks about the battles. And I think competition, specifically on line positions, it just bodes well. It bodes well. Then he gets just a weird discussion regarding a question about has he ever seen an offensive lineman return a kick on purpose? Because we've seen that ability out of a guy like Jordan Morgan.
I have not. I've seen some old linemen, like you see guys in high school play like field hockey or normal hockey and stuff like that. You're like, wow, that's pretty impressive at 300 some pounds. But yeah, no, that was pretty crazy.
Now he goes back to, and what I care more about, quite frankly, is the competition at the offensive line and how, with all the different guys over the last few years that they've lost, how he feels about actual competition for many different spaces and having the versatility at many different spaces via competition on the offensive line.
Very excited about it. I think, it's just a matter of putting the best group out there. And there's a lot of different combinations, like I said, that, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. And that's one thing we always are pretty intentional about, is working guys at multiple positions just to kind of see where they fit best. So I think that's kind of what we'll be doing in OTAs in the early part of camp.
So there you go. That's Adam Stenavich. We'll come back with more, but we're going to kind of take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot of other stuff to get to as well. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Stenny's, second and National Walker's Point. And as the Brewers come home tomorrow, the weekend series, the series against Pittsburgh coming up, you want to catch the shuttles at Stenny's, that's the place to do it. Don't forget, the new Stenny's, Lake Country, is going to open up Memorial Day weekend coming up at the end of the month. Cannot wait for that place to open. And by the way, if you're in the Lake Country area and you're looking for a part-time job, they're hiring bartenders, servers, cooks, and such right now. And if you've got friends you want to bring them. But they are hiring. So they want to expand their staff because this new Stenny's out in Lake Country is bigger than the Stenny's downtown, actually. It's actually got more space. So they need a few more people. And I think it's going to be a huge hit out here. But Stenny's, whether it's second and National Walker's Point or on Watertown Road in Pewaukee, you cannot go wrong. And as they say, you should be here. More to come right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's so bright. It's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing, and it makes it comfortable for the life we live, which is an active one.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside.
For the first time, our whole house actually feels like the same climate.
And no drafts. It's a game changer.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. And if you order today, you get 0% interest for up to 60 months. When it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows and doors, you want to be confident about your decisions. With Pella Design Works, you can see what your home could look like before you buy. Black frame windows or white, vinyl, wood, or fiberglass. Bring your vision to life and rest assured it's the perfect style for your home. Right now, get 0% interest-free financing for up to 60 months when you order by May 10th. Set your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 5/10/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Continuing on, Adam Stenavich, offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. And we heard him talk a lot about the offensive line and about Jordan Morgan. And one of the thoughts that also they wanted to pick his brain on, and Josh Myers was a guy that was under the gun, I think. And I don't think I know last season at the center position. And then the Packers drafted Jacob Monk, the kid out of Duke, the offensive lineman. And there were some questions about Jacob Monk and his ability.
He was very explosive when I saw him, just doing his O-line drills and stuff like that. I thought he had a really good explosiveness off the ball, so that was pretty impressive. And that's what we saw on film too. So the cool thing is with those guys, there wasn't any bad surprises. It was all right, these guys looked the part. So it's just a matter of them picking up on the system and fixing their technique and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
He goes again. The question talks about, all the different guys that can play certain spots in the offensive line. There's versatility. And again, he goes right back to, we want competition on that line. Here's what he had to say.
No, I think it's because we got some depth. We got a lot of good depth. I think that it'll raise it up. There's guys maybe who don't have as much experience as opposed to like a Sean Ryan versus John Runyon, but there's still a lot of guys who can play. So, we're never afraid to play young guys. So it's just one of those things that we'll just give them all opportunities and see who rises.
Offensively speaking, one of the things that they did, we all know, is, you hated to part with Aaron Jones, but what they feel they've gotten is younger, quicker, and a little more explosivity when it comes to the running back position. And Adam Stenavich kind of addressed, bringing in Josh Jacobs and adding him to the offense.
Yeah, Josh is a phenomenal running back. He's been doing, all pro a couple of times. And he's just one of those guys that's good in all situations. Good out of the backfield as a receiver, excellent runner. He's a good pass protector. So he's one of those guys that you can really have in the game all the time and not have to worry about anything with him. So that's nice. And just, his experience, his leadership, things like that, are things that I'm excited about having him here and doing a great job for us.
We know the Packers love big, strong, versatile. Big, strong, versatile. Not just a guy, because 10 years ago it was David Bakhtiari was your left tackle, period, end of story. Now guys can move all over the place. Do they value that more than specific position players?
I think it just depends kind of on your coaching philosophy. Because I'm sure if David early in his career had played guard, he probably would have done a good job. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where if you believe in training guys in multiple positions and you kind of just do it that way, it's one of those things that guys just get used to, and you can kind of see them in different spots. So I would say just it's more of a coaching philosophy than anything for me.
So there you go. We're going to pick up where we left off coming up after the top of the hour as well, because I believe all of it should be listened to and explained and then discussed. because the thing that I keep hearing is competition. The thing that we keep talking about is versatility. Who's going to play where? And they know, they have an idea. They're not, they're not going to give away all state secrets. But they really do. You get the sense of, we're not quite sure. We know we've got a good starting 5, 6, or 7. We're not quite sure where everybody's going to play. We got an idea, but the competition will tell us and dictate to us where guys play.
It seems like they'd rather have like 7 or 8 offensive linemen that they really like rather than 4 or 5 they love. Like They just want to just give me a bunch of them. Give me a bunch of guys that I can coach up and work with, and we'll figure it out. That seems to be how they approach it.
And he's right. Had they moved David Bakhtiari around when he first came into the league, who knows? Maybe he would have become this dynamic guard as well. You don't know. But there's a lot of moving pieces, and I think last year what they did, specifically midseason, in the shuffling in and out of guys, they found out who could play, wanted to play, and how they played, and now they've got their base going into this season, which is that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. All right, let's do this. Stay tuned. We're going to come back, pick up where we left off. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Milwaukee Brewers have snapped their 3-game losing streak as the Brewers were in the bottom of the 9th. 2 outs. Willie Adames was up with 2 men on base, and he hit the go-ahead home run to see the Brewers beat the Royals 6-5 in Kansas City last night. Here's more from manager Pat Murphy on their come-from-behind victory.
That's playing all 9. When you play all 9, you got a chance every pitch, and it came down to the last pitch. William hits a ball down the line. This kid's been incredible all year. Then Gary has a great at-bat, walks, gets a tough righty, and then, you know what happened after that.
Starting pitcher Colin Ray also went 4 2/3 innings, allowing 4 runs on 7 hits. Milwaukee now looks to take the series victory against the Royals this afternoon at 1:10. Turning to the Packers, they're going through phase 2 of their offseason program. It's giving Packers new DC Jeff Hafley and OC Adam Stenavich an opportunity to get to know their players from the draft and free agency. The Packers, they'll begin OTAs in just a few weeks.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin basketball coach Greg Gard says he'd still like to add one more player in the transfer portal. The Badgers, they've added 3 players to replace the 4 scholarship guys that transferred after the season. Gard did say he would like to add one more player to the front court. And finally, the Bucs are in off-season mode, looking to retool their roster. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Good to have you back. For those of you that were here during the first hour, great. For those of you that are just joining us on the network, welcome into the program, the Bill Michaels Show. Way to get a hold of us. Phone number is 877-867-1670 if you want to call and get your voice heard. If you want to text, 608-321-1670. 608-321-1670. You can find us on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels, at Wisco Grant, Instagram and Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show, The Bill Michaels Show. Same thing over on TikTok if you want to find us there. YouTube, Great way to pay attention to the program, and you can subscribe absolutely free. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Click on the lives, and you can subscribe, and we really appreciate that. Thanks so much for everybody that has. Same thing on the Twitch app, on the Kick app, on LinkedIn as well. You can find us via email, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website, thebillmichaels.com, thebillmichaels.com. And then you can also find us on the app, WOZN, The Zone Madison, which comes in handy today because you got an early Brewers game. So we got that going on. Also, you can find us via the podcast after the fact on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts as well. So all the different ways to track us down. As we went to break, we were listening to Adam Stenavich, the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. And so he was talking about a lot of the competition on the offensive line and what everybody, has going on. He talked about the addition of Josh Jacobs and the value of versatility over, having like specialty guys. Do you like a guy that can play guard and tackle and do both well, or do you like a guy that's strictly your left tackle and strictly that guy? I think they're probably greedy in saying they want both, but they just want to put the best five out there. Then he was asked specifically, when you look at a guy like Marshawn Lloyd, the running back, you're adding him into this mix now. He's your third. He's your trio of guys. He was asked, Adam Stenavich, the offensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, was asked about Lloyd and what he brings.
I liked his speed a lot. He had some good runs in OTAs where you saw his burst. He's got good vision. So I'm really excited about that, out of the backfield.
The question is, when you have a guy like, say, A.J. Dillon, who, didn't really start a whole lot, didn't play a whole lot early on. Some of these guys, under Mike McCarthy, it was, you got to come in and learn how to pick up a blitz before we're going to put you back there, unless it's specifically a run play. And then when we do that, you tend to dictate, because you're on the field, as to what it is we're going to do. So you got to be versatile, but you've really, really, really got to figure out how to pick up a blitz and protect the quarterback. And a lot of this offense is predicated upon a quick kind of a shimmy block, little elbow, little something here to kind of slow a guy down, and then quickly you're breaking out of the backfield to catch a pass. So does Marshawn Lloyd, do you expect him to play as a rookie?
I would like to get him out there as much as possible. I think, he's got a skill set that's a little bit different than AJ's as far as his speed. He's not quite the bruiser that he is, obviously, but he's got a different type of skill set. So it'll be nice to get him the ball in space and just see what he can do, because I think he's going to add a good explosive element to the offense for sure.
Now, remember, Adam Stenavich being reunited somewhat with Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Both of those guys now on Matt LaFleur's staff. And he did talk a little bit about working with Jeff Hafley again.
I worked with him in San Francisco for a couple years. So it was cool because, it was just like, hey, man, how you been the last 4 years? You know what I mean? So it was cool to be around him. Same guy. He's just such an intelligent, good dude. And then how he is with the players. I'm excited about him, and I know he loves it here.
Did he see Jeff Hafley being kind of an assistant and a coordinator, then going off to become a collegiate head coach, and then, coming full circle to where he's the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers? Did he see this trajectory for Jeff Hafley when they were working together back in San Francisco?
Yeah, he was very intelligent, and I left to come here, and he went to Ohio State to become the defensive coordinator. So we kind of left at the same time too. And so it was cool to see him, get a head job at Boston College and do all that. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to have him here.
The special teams needs help. I don't think we're, being master of the obvious here other than that. When it comes to the return game, it's going to be different this year, specifically on kickoffs. And you would assume Keyshawn Nixon can maybe morph into that role. But when it comes to punt returns, possibly kick returns, who knows? How does he feel having all these top wide receivers and the tight ends and all these guys, that are coming back, that these guys, they're all returning. They're all going to be returning, not returning in the sense of kick returning and punt returning, but all these guys that could be looked at in that sense, but they're all coming back. They're all familiar with one another. They're all, they're already ahead of the game because you don't have a lot of teaching to do. They know it already. So how much easier is this year with all these guys coming back and returning to what it was last year?
It's night and day. Like, we can go out there right now and just run plays. And it's not like we're installing everything for the first time. We can just say, hey, run this, this formation, whatever it is. We can start experimenting on things faster and just taking the next steps with the offense. So it's been good.
He was also kind of touched on the fact that, you got guys coming back, Dontavian Wicks, who really kind of had a breakout year last year towards the end of the season, mid-portion to the end of the season. And then you've got a guy like Jaden Reed, who just impressed the hell out of so many people. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the tallest guy when it comes to leaping ability, but he just ran such crisp routes. He just was so polished his first season. So, he discussed Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks coming back in year 2.
The biggest thing, when you get guys who leave for the first time in the off season, you want them to relax a little bit and just go be a normal person. But they also need to understand, when we come back, it's going to be work time. So you got to be in shape. And some guys understand that and some guys don't. The encouraging thing was every single guy that came back, they came back in great shape, ready to work. So that was nice just to see the maturity level of them and just being ready, being professional and coming to get better.
Last year when this team got together, I don't think many of us had expectations. We were guessing the season, 4 wins, 6 wins, 10 wins. Some went crazy with 12. Some went, to the absolute negative side with 2 or 3. And there weren't the streamlined level of expectations that there are this year. I think most would look at it and say, hey, 10, 11 wins, maybe more, 12, possibly 13 if you really get high. But you're considered to be one of the best teams in the NFC. There's a level of expectation where, as opposed to last year coming into the doors, you didn't really know what you had. So Stenavich talks about expectations this year versus what they were dealing with last year.
We know how good we can be, but we need to understand that no one's going to hand anything to us in this league. Everything must be earned. It's just the intentionalness of going out there every single day and working hard and working at your craft and just being the best player that you can be. That's what's going to take us back to the playoffs and see as far as, get as far as we can go. So that's the biggest thing in this part of the year is just making sure we're taking those little steps to get better from wherever we're at, just getting better every single day.
Now, that's very cliche, very coach speak. We all know that. You got to get better every single day. You try to get better every single day. You got to have competition. I get all of that. But there's a difference this year and last year for that matter. But you're younger, and with youth and enthusiasm, guys fighting for contracts, when you get veterans on their second and third deal, and I don't want to say they're comfortable because you pay veterans off of what they've done and what their potential is. Young guys, they're all hungry. It goes back to, I hate to use the Rocky analogy, but, the eye of the tiger thing. They still are really hungry. There's very few guys that get to the NFL and suddenly go, oh, I've made it, and they relax. Some do, but most of them work towards that first contract before they even do that. So with having so many young guys in camp, and then you've got, obviously the competition, the wide receiving position, the competition, tight end position, the competition you're going to have really to run the football. You don't want injuries because that's going to allow guys opportunities. He said, look, when you got a bunch of young competitive guys, specifically in that wide receiver room, you got one guy that's, you're looking for that alpha guy, but this is great because everybody's young and hungry.
It just depends on the kind of guys you have in there, but every single one of those guys is just such a intentional, hardworking guy that I think they all kind of just feed off each other. So it's been really cool to just see how they're all genuinely happy for each other's success. And they all just help each other out. So I think that's been cool to watch.
That was very evident mid-season last year, going back to the accounts by Mike and Pete Doherty and the guys that we had talked to throughout the season about seeing the wide receivers kind of take it upon themselves to put, kind of BS session, a circle of chairs together to say, okay, we got to figure this out. and they then helped one another get better. You know, we can't be running routes in the same space. We can't be tripping over one another. We've got to be right place, right time. We've got to work together. We've got to know our route trees. We've got to know everything that we need to know, and we're going to help each other. You know, it goes back to almost a military mentality. You know, you're only as good as the guy that's trailing behind. So most of the other guys, one of two things will happen. You either have self-discipline within the room, or those guys give you a hand to drag you forward and help you help yourself. And it seemed like they had a lot of that last year, which was really kind of we talked about it, but it was kind of an unsung story last year about how they helped each other rise up and get better. So Stenavich says, hey, look, we've got our arms around the young guys now. We've got our arms around the offense. We know the positions, we know the names, we know the faces, we know the expectations. So now what we're trying to do is this is not 101 anymore. Now it's time to take this offense to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, you're always looking to take the next step. You have to keep evolving, and so it's just a matter of what's our best next step, you know what I mean, or next two things that we want to do. So that's the thing we can work on now. It's not just running the foundational base things, but now we can just, all right, let's see how this looks. You know what I mean? Maybe get this guy the ball in a certain way, whatever it is, a certain package with particular players on the field, just stuff like that where you can see, all right, is this the direction we want to go?
So there you go. That's Adam Stenavich. For the last 45 minutes, we've kind of gone over everything offensively speaking that Stenavich brought to the table. And a lot of that, you understand that last year was an incredible building year, if that makes sense. They had to build something, but the expectation was, while it wasn't as high as it is coming into this season, there was still a level of expectation there. And then once it came together, you went, oh, okay, now we get it. Yeah, collectively, I think the coaching staff and the players did. Well, I want to talk about that when we come back. And also, when you look at the use of running backs under Matt LaFleur and how they've been used, and, when you look at a guy like Marshawn Lloyd coming in and wanting to be a part of this trio, who could be the odd man out, by the way? I mean, Josh Jacobs is the guy that you wanted to bring in. You paid that guy. You still have A.J. Dillon, but could Marshawn Lloyd edge A.J. Dillon out of snaps, if he really excels the way the Packers believe he could? So a lot of stuff I want to get to. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I want you to hit us up if you can. 877-867-1670. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. At Pella, they have the offer right now, 0%, 60 months, right there. Or no down payment, no payments, no interest for 24 months. So you can kind of take your pick on what you'd rather have. You can start paying on it right now with no interest, or you can wait for 2 years before you start making payments on this thing. They're going to give you a choice. However, there's a caveat to this. You have till the end of the week. So if you've been thinking about it, maybe you wanted to schedule that free in-home consultation. Maybe you're talking to them. Maybe you want to go to a showroom, whether it's in Stevens Point area, up in the Wausau area, Madison, Brookfield out near Milwaukee, or up in Green Bay. They have something for everybody. Curb appeal, safety, innovation, doors, windows, big bay windows, whatever it happens to be. Pella's got something for everybody. Vinyl, impervia, or different levels of wood windows as well. Something for everybody and for every budget. But I encourage you, if you're thinking about doing this sale, this can go away. So get a hold of our friends at Pella Windows and Door of Wisconsin. Go to PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May. Score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries. 5 times the entries on drawing days, and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes, Slugger? Only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit basebig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Rolling through the Bill Michaels Show today on this Wednesday, Hump Day. This portion brought to you by our friends over there at Dream Vacation. Thinking about getting away, maybe planning something during the winter. Is supposed to be craptastic next year. I don't want to talk about winter, but the winter is supposed to be really kind of brutal. So if you're thinking about maybe a resort, a cruise, maybe heading internationally, you want to plan that warm weather vacation, now's the time to do it. You can put some money down. You can pay it off. You don't need everything at once. You got a little time to kind of scout locations. And Michael and Melissa over at Dream Vacations, they can help you plan the whole thing. Everything from airfare, where you're going to go, drink prices. I mean, they can do it all. And all you got to do is give them a call right here in the state of Wisconsin, 414-208-4221, 414-208-4221. And they work with veterans. So if you're a veteran or a military member and you say, hey, here's my ID, what have you, they waive some fees for you too. They're dedicated to our cause, which is helping out the foundation, the Big Unit Foundation, and everything that we do in support of Fisher House, Wisconsin, and for military members, families, first responders, and such. So they're big into that. So give them a call, 414-208-4221, 414-208-4221. That's Dream Vacations for all of your resort, your cruise, your sport travel vacation needs. Let Michael and Melissa give you a hand with your next trip, next getaway. You can finance it. Hey, they have all the different options for you. Really, really, really great people to work with. Great people to work with. So after hearing all of that, I want to get your reaction. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. At the bottom of the hour, Sean Merriman, the former linebacker for the Chargers, is going to be joining us. He's got some stuff regarding the NFL and some MMA stuff coming up. But I want to get your reaction to what we've heard over the last 45 minutes regarding Adam Stenavich and the thoughts regarding the offense of the Green Bay Packers. We can break down what Jeff Hafley's had to say later. But I want to talk about the offense and about your level of one. It might be best to use the word comfort level. I don't think you ever get too comfortable, but for everything that they have, I'm kind of comfortable. The only area of concern that I have, if I had to say any area of concern, is I still have, and I know it sounds crazy when you've got 4, 5, 6 guys that can all catch the pass, but it's that Christian Watson is if I had to circle one concern, that's my one concern, because you rely upon his speed, you rely upon his ability to get downfield and to push and stretch the defense. And I wonder how much, it certainly seems like they believe that he's going to be okay, but I wonder how much, if any, the injury factor will play into this season for him from what we've seen over the last couple of years. And you have to. I'm not picking on him, okay? He's had catch issues. He's had, the hamstring issues, the knee issue. The availability has not been there and consistent. And then the consistency of play has not been there and consistent unless you go back to his first year when really the mid-portion of the season he started to emerge and he burst onto the scene. And then like the white hot comet, there was no more. So that's my only area of concern. You've got 3 what are considered to be solid running backs. You've got 3 what are considered to be 3 solid tight ends and depth at that position. It seems like your offensive line, depending on what you end up doing with Morgan before it's all said and done, is he going to be your left tackle? Is he going to be battling Rasheed Walker over there at that left tackle position? Certainly Zach Tom would probably want to and probably will stay at tackle. You've got competition now at center. You've got a little bit of depth on that line via the guard position and the mix and match capabilities. Elton Jenkins is your elder statesman now, and that guy's as solid as solid gets. It doesn't seem like, offensively speaking, I've got or should have big concerns. Do you? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Jamie says, I bet there's a good mix of both. Guys they plan on moving around and the guys that are going to be static, I think they've got a good mix. I want to go over to the text line and talking about all of this stuff. This one's from the 715. Would you take Christian Watson or Bo Melton for a better year this year? Christian Watson. I think you have to. You have to. Because if you put it this way, if Bo Melton has this great year over Christian Watson, it's because Christian Watson's availability was nil again. So you have to. And they've got that option of Bo Melton being a in the mix guy, but for everything they have on that offense and all the different weapons that they have on that offense, I like the depth. I appreciate the depth for what they have, right? I would love to see them. I still would love to see them be able to get another lineman, like somebody cuts a guy, and you've got some money to spend. I'd love to see them get another lineman. I'd love to see them get themselves another wideout. You got Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs, hands down. There you go. Malik Heath, he started to come on. Dontavian Wicks started to come on. Bo Melton's there. And then you've got Christian Watson. Alex Magoo, by the way, who was on the depth chart as a backup quarterback, is now a wideout. Believe it or not. He's like 7th. You got Samori Toure, Grant Dubose. Both of those guys were draft choices. You'd love to see them take that next step. Samori Toure's going to have to, right? But I still would love to see them add, because that gives you 9? If you put Alex Magoo in the actual wide receiving room, which I'm putting him on the outlier right now, that would give you 7. Or no, excuse me, 8 wide receivers on this team. So you're not desperate, but I don't think you're going to get one of the fastest guys to kind of replace the speed of Christian Watson in free agency. But I wouldn't mind if you were able to find one more guy. You can never, ever have too many weapons. Never. And they still like Ben Sims, too. Don't forget Ben Sims at the tight end position. They liked him, too. So technically, you've got 4 tight ends, 8 solid wide receivers, that give you depth. And you still have a good mix of guys. Jordan Morgan at your left tackle. You've got, who else? You've got so many guys to shuffle in and shuffle out. Caleb Jones is another guy. Sean Ryan, Josh Myers, Rasheed Walker at the tackle position. You can move Zach Tom into center, Elton Jenkins at a guard. Royce Newman is still there. He's played. I mean, you went from being a little bit afraid of your depth to now having at least what you believe to be solidified depth. But
they signed Andre Dillard too. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, and Andre Dillard. So you've the kid from Tennessee. So you've got depth. You've got guys. So I don't think right now, if you look at this offense, I don't think you have much weakness at all, if any. It's all about the depth. It's all about if you have a mass group of casualties at the line position or at the offensive position. 877-867-1670. Coming back, Sean Merriman, the former Sackmaster over there at the Chargers properties, and now with an MMA group and promotes things and lights out MMA. So we're going to talk with him coming up about what it's like when you switch from a 4-3 to a 3-4, what it's like when you come in as a rookie, what you're looking for your second year, what it is you're trying to do. Halfley, as a defensive coordinator, coming in and learning a new defensive coordinator and such. So all of that upcoming. Don't go anywhere. Got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up, and it's coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
We're not that far away. Wednesday Night Live coming up on May 22nd. Back at the Budweiser Pavilion at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Cannot wait. Music outside, good weather. Oh, yeah. The beer garden down in the 3rd Ward is open at Catalinato Square. But Wednesday Night Live is going to be back in just a couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, it's 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, the Glam Band takes the stage, followed by Rebel Grace, Cherry Pie, Bella Cane, and so on. But it's another great music lineup at Wednesday Night Live at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. The gates open up at 6, goes to about 10:30. Live music starts at 7. Free parking for motorcycles and no admission to get in. Gates open, and all you got to do is walk right through. I think the cars are like $6 or $7 to park, but beyond that, free admission. So Wednesday Night Live is back again this year in the 2024 music lineup for the food, the drinks, the indoor, the outdoor seating, everything. All begins on May 22nd, 2 weeks from today. Looking forward to it. What also is getting ready to take place is some MMA stuff, including, we've got obviously mini camps, and we're talking some NFL and Packers. And to do more of it, Sean Merriman joining us on the hotline, the former linebacker for the Chargers. Sean, how you been, pal?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going?
We're doing great. We're enjoying ourselves, hopefully getting a little bit warmer here. I know it's warmer where you're at, but we're getting a little bit warmer here. You've got some stuff coming up, but I wanted to ask you first, in your years of playing, now the Packers are going from a 3-4 to a 4-3. Now, we know base isn't played a whole lot because a lot of nickel and dime are played in nowadays, but how difficult is that transition?
It's tough, and I will use this example as obviously I was a 3-4 outside linebacker with the Chargers. And sometimes I put my hand in the dirt in a nickel or dime situation, but it was strictly pass rushing. When I got to the Bills, they wanted me to put my hand in the dirt and play a standard 4-3, and I struggled, man. It was a different world for me. I had to learn how to play the position. I wasn't really too good with my hand in the dirt. Learned how to taking on a 6 technique, tight end block. Keeping my head and eyes up while my hand is in the dirt. So it is a bit different. I think that a little bit different nowadays is that some of those guys, even in the 4-3 situation, they may be able to stand up. That's what I convinced my coaches to do because I was having such a problem, coming out of my stance from a 3-point position. So I said, hey, look, you guys keep your defense the same, but I need to stand up so I can see the rest of the field and come off the line of scrimmage. And so if they have the capabilities of doing that, they'll be fine. But if you have a coach who's saying, hey, this is the way we want to run it, put your hand in the dirt. I don't care if you're struggling. it's not going to work out well for the guys that are traditional 3-4 outside linebackers.
So I wanted to ask you also, now that, you don't play a ton of base anyway, but for the guys in the trenches, it's like if you're moving a guy like Kenny Clark, who's been playing kind of on the outside, he started out at center, then he played to the outside. Now he's got to move back inside. How difficult is it for those down linemen?
It becomes a dirty position. In fact, a 3-4 interior guy has a bigger problem because it's a very dirty, non-rewarding position where you're taking on double teams. You're basically, a sacrificial lamb in a case for those inside linebackers and those outside guys to make the plays. You don't get a lot of things. But in the 4-3 now, a guy that's moved out to a 3 technique or a little bit outside that B gap, he has a bit more leniency to work on that guard a little bit more one-on-one. He can run his stunts and get up the field and be a little bit more creative. But that interior guy in the 3-4 position is the most under-deserving position on the football field because they get no credit and they do most of the work.
So, because we're obviously starting to talk about the changeover with Jeff Hafley coming in now, formerly, had some NFL experience with the 49ers and such, and then goes to Boston College, now the defensive coordinator for the Packers. So how much then does it become incumbent upon the play of the middle linebackers with the guys up front are the ones that are either putting a pass rush on or absorbing the blocks? So how much now does that play into the middle linebackers and their capabilities?
You have to know now that in that situation, a guard, for an example, on the offensive line may just bump down on that D tackle and be right up in your face right away. So as long as you know that, your reaction time has to be a little bit different. You can't just jump over that guard and leave that gap wide open. You got to kind of face him man up. Get a good pop on him, then get your eyes back in the back of the ball carrier. So that's the difference. It's really understanding how quickly it's going to happen from a 3-4 to a 4-3 for that middle linebacker. But those guys are easily adjustable. The guys that's going to have the problem is the ones on the outside who have to play that 6 technique or play that 7 technique or 9 technique with an extra tight end or maybe a wing back on top of that. So the guys on the outside are the ones who have the biggest adjustment from a 3-4 to a 4-3. Is there? I mean, obviously as a player, there's a difference, but as a novice kind of watching the game, what do you think works better? I mean, for you personally, you thought that a 3-4 worked better because it gave you, you were standing up on the outside and you were doing your thing. But is there one favorite over the other in your opinion? In my opinion, if you got a guy like myself, it was a tweener, right? That can play. I played the run well. I know rush a passer, but I played the run well. But I can also put my hand in the dirt at times. But also, if a running back went to the flats, I can cover him in the flats. If a tight end ran up the seam, I can cover him in the seam. So it just matters. It just depends on how versatile are the guys on the outside and can they fit in there. Now, a traditional 4-3 guy that's handling the dirt more than likely will have a terrible uphill battle trying to run with a tight end or cover a running back going to the flats or some kind of curl where you got to sit underneath or dropping in cover 3, getting the depth and also keeping everything in front of you. A guy from the 4-3 trying to convert to a 3-4 is a much harder situation than a guy from a 3-4 to a 4-3. I end up growing into the position because I am used to playing with my hand in the dirt sometimes. But if you're used to putting your hand in the dirt as a 4-3, and now they ask you to stand up and you have to drop in coverage and know, the coverages and schemes and switches from strong to weak, it is a much bigger uphill battle for a guy switching from 4-3 to 3-4 than it is the other way around.
Now I wanted to ask you about being a coordinator. We had watched Joe Barry over the last couple of years kind of live death by 1,000 cuts. Don't let anything behind you, keep everything in front of you. And you would see teams go on, 75-yard drives, 9 plays, and the longest play was maybe 8 yards, where you just live death by 1,000 cuts constantly. To now, Hafley wants to be aggressive. He's like, let's go hit people. Let's go let you play. Did you appreciate that style more, being aggressive, allowed to just do your thing?
I like the aggression always because sometimes people are going to have the home runs, right? They're going to get behind you once in a while in coverage. But if a team knows as you sit back in the cover 3 scheme where you get in depth and keeping everything in front of the first down hash marker or in front of, put your heels on the end zone and play everything in front of you, you're one broken tackle away from that being a first down or conversion every single time. I don't like that. I've never liked it. And look, if you're winning 7 out of 10 of those battles, it's a big thing. But when teams know and they can plan against you to know that you're going to drop deep to keep everything in front of you, those drives are so long, you can forget about it. Sometimes you're playing, 60-plus plays a game on defense only because they're dink and dunk. They'll throw that 3 or 4 yard pass, break a tackle, pick up 7, run the ball, first down, and it's just a repeated situation over. So I like the aggressive coach and their mindset, their style. And once in a while, you're going to get beat. That's just part of the game.
You've got some big stuff coming up as well with your own promotion of Lights Out Sports. You've got some MMA coming up. And one of the things that, every time we have you on, people say, I didn't know this was there. So you've got a channel that's kind of dedicated by athletes to athletes, so to speak, and also to the broadcast of a lot of this stuff, right?
Yes. We just launched my multi-sports, free multi-sports streaming service, Lights Out Sports, that's available on Roku and videos coming up here in the next few weeks or so. Apple, Android, Fire TV, Apple TV. So you got, we got Speed Vision on it, Outdoor America, all your fishing, hunting, billiards, chess. I wasn't even a chess guy until I started getting a chess, but chess.com have a channel. Doing kickboxing. So I wanted to create a locker room for everybody to come with just sports. Nothing against those other streaming services. I'm still a subscriber to all the biggest ones out there. But with this, there's very few places out there where you go for just sports and you don't have to click through 300 plus channels. So download Lights Out Sports, and we got a big fight May 18th. It'll be in Long Beach, California, but it'll be live on Lights Out Sports. Again, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, Android, Apple. You can download it and watch our fights live for free, along with these other, 10, 15 plus channels that we're launching with.
So you guys have the fight coming up in a week, in about a week and a half, actually. But great stuff, and obviously with the matchups that you have, there's a couple of good ones in there. So talk about because I don't even know how to pronounce the names. I just know the fighters. But tell me about some of the better matchups you guys have coming up in your main event.
That's when you're doing well, man. When you can't pronounce these fighters, that means
right?
We got the international guys on there. Roy Echeverria and Calabrio. Both of these guys are our first international matchup, and we have 3 guys in this card that will end up in the UFC. Possibly that main event that I just mentioned. One of those guys, the winner of this match, more than likely will end up in the UFC. So, I'm about building the next great superstars, man. We all know that the UFC is the big dog in this game, and we want to get as many fighters as we can. And so you can watch us live, man, on Lights Out Sports. May 18th, download it. Go to your Roku, your Apple TV. We got a 5-hour show. We got 19 fights in one night. And that's the fun part, all right, about owning your own streaming service, that we don't have to cut off a TV time. We're just running fights back to back. So tune in to us. It'll start at 5 p.m. Pacific, May 18th.
Great stuff. Always great to talk to you, Sean. We'll touch base real soon when the next big match comes up. But good luck on launching the new sports channel. And then I appreciate the information and the insight, man, because, it's going to be a lot of intrigue this year looking at this Packers defense to see the aggressiveness and the changeover from a 3-4 to a 4-3. Appreciate it, pal.
You got it. Thanks for having me on.
Talk to you later. There you go. And, it's Echeverria and Caballero. And I got to be slow with that. Even he stumbled on it, and he's the guy promoting it. So Echeverria and Caballero are the 2 guys going at it coming up on, what do you say, May 18th, I think is what it is, Saturday, May 18th. So, yeah, good stuff coming up on Lights Out Sports. So look for that. Maybe download it. But Lights Out Sports, I don't know if I'd want to sit down and watch a chess match. But, hey, you know what? I wasn't sure I'd like Australian rules football either early on, when they had that as one of the first things they ever started promoting big time on ESPN years and years ago. So who knows? There you have it. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. Got a lot more of more of the Bill Michaels Show to get to. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on. Hey, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip. Don't forget, we all love Quick Trip, right? For every $200 you spend at Quick Trip, using that Quick Rewards card, you're going to get a free ticket to a Brewers game, to one of your choice. And I'm not kidding. You can visit the Quick Rewards app, and you click on Fan Zone. You go to that button, Fan Zone, from the home screen. And your Quick Rewards app, you can opt in and start redeeming your tickets right now. You can redeem up to 6 tickets at a time. And you get Brewers points. They're in addition to the Quick Rewards visits that you earn as well. You get there are some blackout dates, whatever. But go to quicktrip.com/ballpark for all the details. And you can get in. The coolest thing about this is that if you earn a ticket, suppose you don't want to go to the terrace level. All right, maybe you want to go down low. You can take that ticket and pick out another ticket, and for what the difference is, you pay the cost rather than paying the full price of a ticket. You can actually trade that in and upgrade yourself and pay the difference, or just keep going back to Quick Trip and earning better and better tickets, what have you, Don't forget, they still have, right now, they've got the Nature's Touch ice cream on sale, the gallon pails, $4.99 with a limit of 2, vanilla, chocolate, all the different flavors. And that chicken is fantastic. And today, on Wednesdays, the whole roasted chicken on sale, $5.99 every Monday. Wednesdays, they've got great deals on the bone-in tenders, the bone-in or the tenders on special, $9.99 every Wednesday. Hand-breaded jumbo tenders, 10%. They've got those things off too. So much good stuff over there at Quick Trip. There's just so much that they offer. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, Quick Trip, huge sponsor of our motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 1st, right there on the screen. Thanks to Quick Trip and all of our other sponsors for being a part of this. But Quick Trip was one of the people that said, whatever it costs, whatever you need in sponsorship for this event to go right, we're there. We're a part of it. We'd love to be a part of it. So thanks to our friends at Quick Trip as well. And if you're a rider or a passenger, scan that QR code right now. If you're a rider or a passenger, not for the general public yet, and you want to be a part of the ride and of the post-ride concert, Scan that QR code. It'll take you right to registration, or simply go to bigunitfoundation.com and you can click in the drop down. You can get registered. You'll see at the bottom of the page, you can get registered. Maybe you just want to make a donation. You can't be a part of anything that day, but you want to make a donation. You can do it there as well. Go to bigunitfoundation.com, bigunitfoundation.com. And whether it's a couple bucks, $10, $50, whatever it happens to be, we take everything. And it all goes to support our mission, which is kind of picking up when I leave the Fisher House board at the end of the year. It picks up there. We want to continue to support military members, veterans, their families, and expand it even into first responders because they need it as well. So you can help us out there. Again, bigunitfoundation.com, and all that information is right there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Correct me if I'm wrong, Grant, but am I reading correct that is Christian Yelich back?
Yelich is back in the lineup. He is DHing, and they sent down Tyler Black to activate him. So that was the transaction about 20 minutes ago, something like that.
Christian Yelich is back. Christian Yelich is back. Not that his back is bad. It's Christian Yelich is back. He's in the lineup. So good stuff to see that Christian Yelich. We kind of felt, I was down the ballpark last week, and you kind of got the sense watching him work out that he was close. And then you started to hear some of the reports. We heard from Andrew Wagner. We've heard from Chuck Freeman, where, people were watching him work out down in Chicago and running hard and doing a lot of the things that he would normally do. You kind of felt that he was really, really close. So today knock on wood, that the injuries are now in the rearview mirror, but Christian Yelich is back in the lineup. So a little bit of Brewers breaking news there. So that's great stuff. That's good to hear. This is the stuff that we were talking about, though. If you start, God, can he please pick up where he left off? Please. I think we should all just, bow our heads at this point in time and say a prayer to the baseball gods and say, please, baseball gods, Christian Yelich got off to a very fast start. Obviously, it was a soft tissue injury regarding the back. We understand that. You can, tweak something and twist something and you start to feel good again. But please, he was off to such a hot start. We would just like Christian Yelich to be Christian Yelich all over again in the name of whatever baseball god you pray to. Amen. And there we go. So we should feel better now.
I got a rosary back here in the studio. I'll keep that in my hand the rest of the show. Maybe that'll help.
And we'll take anything at this point.
I'm glad that Yelich is back. The rest of this lineup, like Ortiz and Hoskins, both hit home runs last night. Neither one of them are starting today. Yeah. And I understand it's a day game after a night game, but this is not this has been going on all year. I want them to play their best players. Ortiz looks awesome when he's out there. He should play every day.
I think Ortiz should be playing. Hoskins should be playing. Hopefully just DHing for a little while gives Christian Yelich the ability to kind of ease back into it. I'm, knock on wood that this thing just begins to, kind of the trajectory is nothing but up, because I'm excited about Brewers baseball. And obviously after today, they come back home. They've got a long stretch where they're taking on the Cardinals for 4 and the Pittsburgh Pirates for 3 before having an off day and going back on the road again. But I'm excited about all of this. Just damn. I can't wait to, granted we're here in studio, but I'm going to flip the game on. That's part of my afternoon. Out doing a little shopping, a little grilling. Got NBA stuff tonight, hockey stuff tonight. It's just a complete sports absorption day, like the giant sponge. By the way, I will admit I'm not a huge pay attention to Paige Sporanic when it comes to the posts. Did you see her at the Kentucky Derby, though?
Literally 10 seconds ago, just scrolled by that tweet. She tweeted it a minute ago. So when you mentioned that, I'm like, no way. Yeah, I just saw it.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, she posted something, I guess, just now, but I've had more than a few people post that have said, did you see Paige Sporanic and the dress and all that kind of stuff? Look, kudos. You know what? Do it. If you've got it, flaunt it, do it. No problem. How do I put this? Paige Sporanic is, when it comes to the world of golf and the understanding of golf at times, she's smart. She's actually got brains too. She's more known for her other set of brains, but she's got brains too. I don't have a problem with Paige Sporanic. Some people do, some people don't, whatever, but people started kind of like retweeting this and sending me text messages and stuff. And it's like, you know what? I don't have time for that. Does that sound bad? It's like, look, okay, can we be frank here? Let's call it what it is. We've all seen a good set of boobs, right? I think we've all been there, done that. Whether it's the girl next door, somebody you saw in a mall, the girl you're dating, the girl you're married to, whatever. We've all been there, done that. So sending me Paige Sporanic, it's like, okay, nice hat. And then I move on. But it became like all of a sudden the last 10 minutes, some kind of crazy obsession with people resending us. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm all right.
Bill, you're right. Bill doesn't have time for that stuff. As the producer, send it to me. I'll take it. I'll make sure.
I mean,
I'll make sure it gets sent to the right place.
I don't know what else to say. It's like 8 people sent it. I've got wait a minute. Cornelius sent it to me. Then from JT, he sent me one. Then this is Seth, Bernie, Daniel, all sent me stuff. And it's all the same picture. It's like, okay, what are we supposed to say? Like, I'm sitting here in the studio. What do you want me to say? Hey, we got to go to commercial break. I need about 5 minutes. Come on, man. Come on. All you guys are standing in a corner still at the age of 31. Some girl walks in the room and you guys are holding your beer and talking to each other like, the guys on Hank Hill's show, going, your boobies. Come on, man. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. All right, go look at the pictures. We'll be back.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers and Royals going to finish out their 3-game set with a rubber match this afternoon. Last night, it appeared Kansas City would take the first 2 games as they had the Brewers down to their last out in the 9th. Then Willie Adames stepped to the plate, drove the 3-run homer to take the lead and push Milwaukee to the win, making it even better. Adames actually called his shot, according to manager Pat Murphy.
No, it was unbelievable. I watched this, and I'm looking at Ricky, and I'm looking back at him, and he's carrying on with them during Gary's at bat. And he's telling them, they're all Kansas City fans, and he's telling them, one more ball. It was a 3-0 pitch and then 3-1. And he goes, one more. And he turned back to him and he goes, here we go. Watch this. And up there. I mean, it was like, did I just see that? It was a cool moment.
Again, the Brewers and Royals will close out their series this afternoon. Joe Ross will get the ball for Milwaukee. Comes in 1-3 with a 4.65 ERA. Kansas City challenge with Brady Singer. He enters 2-1 with a 2.45 ERA. First pitch is coming up at 1:10.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
All business owners want the same thing, to make their business succeed. At Rural Mutual, they help that happen. As the 3rd largest writer of commercial business in Wisconsin, they take the time to learn your business so they can properly protect you. Call your local agent today or visit ruralmutual.com.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the NFL announced yesterday that they would release the 2024 schedule next Wednesday. Teams already know who they're going to play and mostly where those games will happen. But the schedule release will tell them when. Packers do know how their season will start in Brazil Friday, September 6th. The first NFL game in South America going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Meanwhile, Packers offseason program continuing. They're going to get OTAs going here in a couple of weeks. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. Heading into our 3rd hour. You want to get a hold of us? Great way to do so. Going to open up the phone lines for everything that we had heard regarding Adam Stenavich and the Green Bay Packers. If you got any questions, you got any thoughts, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can text us on the text line. That's open, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. Obviously, Brewers baseball coming up today, so you want to pay attention to the program. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. The Bill Michaels Show. How about over on YouTube? You want to subscribe there. And that's absolutely free, by the way, 100% free. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. And we love that so many of you do. We appreciate it. And we continue to grow that page. Again, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on the Twitch app, on the Kick app, LinkedIn as well. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, the website, thebillmichaels.com. And then if you want to track us down on the Zone app, WOZN, the Zone Madison, take us anywhere and everywhere. We encourage that, specifically in baseball season. And then you've got the after the fact, you've got Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcast as well. So a lot of different areas there to find us as well. So that's it. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. This is from Mark, who says, I liked what Adam Stenovich had to say. However, they still seem a little bit confused about the offensive line. Do you really think that Morgan is going to be the guy to start the season? I don't know if he's going to be the guy. I don't know if Jordan Morgan's going to be the guy to start the season. I think that there's some work there, and Stenovich was very clear about that he has some work to do with his hands and with his placement and, getting out quick. I mean, the projection for him was, and when I looked him up in our lads the night that they drafted him, he was a guard. He was listed as a guard because of the little bit shorter arms and the hand play. So I think their intent is to give him every opportunity to play this position that he's played, which is left tackle. But I think that, again, we talked about competition and versatility, and they love all of that. And they've got a guy that's played left tackle. So, yes, I do believe they're going to give him every opportunity to be the starter. But also don't forget, it's like, Grant had mentioned a little while ago, Andre Dillard is the guy they picked up from Tennessee. Andre Dillard's got left tackle capability. They had Rasheed Walker playing left tackle as well. So he's got left tackle capability. I keep wondering what's going to happen with Caleb Jones. And I know I've talked about a guy that hasn't even played. He's just such a big dude, man. He is. I would love to see him make the jump this year. He's so you because you can't teach size. Dude, 6'8", 330, a beast. He just hasn't been able to crack the lineup because he's had some people that are better than him ahead of him. So I'd love to see if he has the ability to take that leap this year. And if he does, or at least gives you that true depth at that tackle position, then I think you're more than solidified. Who knows? Maybe he can convert to right tackle too. I mean, they've had him pretty much listed on the depth chart as a left tackle, but maybe he's a guy that's a little more ambidextrous, and he can go over to the right side, and maybe he can find his way into the lineup on the right side too. I mean, I don't know, but I'm pretty happy with the 4 or 5 experienced guys they have playing tackle.
Do you think it would be a reasonable bet or maybe a reasonable guess that the starting offensive line in week 12 is going to be different than week 1?
Yes.
Because I could see week 1, maybe they start Rasheed Walker and maybe Andre Dillard's playing. And as the season goes along, some of these young guys, either rookies or year 2 guys, start to come on strong. Maybe there's an injury. And I think the line looks different towards the end of the year than it probably does week 1.
I think if they are a little bit unsure or they're trying to still somewhat figure it out, you're going to see what happened like last year. Last year, you saw Yosh Nijman getting in, then you saw Rasheed Walker getting in, you saw Sean Ryan was getting in, and then eventually it all settled down and guys found their roles. Zach Tom became your right tackle, Rasheed Walker became your left tackle, and everything just kind of filled in. Sean Ryan was your guard, Elton Jenkins was your guard, Josh Myers hung on to his job, and it just got solidified by the end of the season. I think you'll see a little bit of that if there's some uncertainty or really good competition at those positions. I think you'll see some of that through maybe the first 3, 4, 5, even 6 games. But after that, I think unless there's injury, I think it all shakes out. But it would not shock me to see the mix and match, just to see what guys have. And you don't want to get your quarterback killed in doing it, but just to see what some of these guys have, it would not shock me to see to see these guys do that. Hey, by the way, we found out that the big news, the big doings going on right now is that tentatively May 15th, which, by the way, is next Wednesday, May 15th, the NFL is going to fully release the schedule. I thought it would be out tomorrow. I don't know what the extra week holdup is, but I thought it would be out tomorrow. Usually they release it on the second Thursday of the month. And so I thought it would be out tomorrow, but nope. They're going to wait till next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. What do you think the holdup's been? Is it all these international games, Grant? Do you think that the holdup has kind of been?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that's not helpful at all. I'm not sure.
No. I mean, you got mini camps and rookies and stuff reporting, and maybe they just want to leave the teams get their press and then get into the schedule release. I mean, I don't know, but maybe spreading it out a little bit from the draft is not a bad thing either. But yeah, next Wednesday appears to be the schedule release for the NFL.
I think it makes sense. It's like let rookie minicamp carry sports talk radio and television and let that have attention for the NFL is really good this time of year of spreading itself as wide as possible. There's not really many dead periods for the NFL anymore. No. There might be a couple weeks here or there, but for the most part, they've gotten really good at occupying real estate.
Right. Yep. They are a year-round entity. The only time the NFL is not prevalent is that dead period from the end of June to the beginning of camp at the end of July. That month, everybody goes away. There's really not much news. Your free agents, for the most part, are signed. You've got the June 1st cuts. The guys are still hanging around out there trying to find jobs. They're waiting for somebody to go down in camp. Everybody's away, usually from facilities. You're off on your last vacation, doing something with your family, whatever. And that month of July, once you get through, the only other thing going on in July is the All-Star game. You have baseball in full swing and the All-Star game. And some soccer, but hockey's done, basketball's done, nothing collegiately going on at that point in time. I mean, it's just baseball standalone, all-star game, and then you get into the end of the month, and then boom, you're on the watch for the training camps. But that's the only dead time the NFL has, and I'm sure they'll figure something out at that point. They'll add something. I don't know what it'll be, some kind of made-for-TV show. So, do we know who's on Hard Knocks yet this year either?
I don't think so. Would you have any early guesses? I would be okay with them just doing the Jets again, honestly.
Yeah, I know, right?
Why not?
Watch the car crash that is. Let's see here. Who's eligible?
The Bears would be interesting because they can't make actual good teams do it. So you got to factor in which teams would be actual possibilities.
So you could do the Jets. You could do the Patriots. You could do, let's see here. You could do the Titans. You could do the Colts. I think the Colts are eligible. The Raiders, the Broncos. You could do the Chargers. What is the parameter? I think it's got to be 2 years out of the postseason or something like that.
I think so, because if the Packers would have missed the postseason this last year, they would have been eligible, right? Yeah. That's what we always talked about. So either 2 or 3, I think 2 years in a row. Yeah.
The Bears, the Panthers, the Cardinals. I mean, they've got a choice this year. Now, out of all of that, what do you want to see the most? If I had my druthers, I'd go number 1 Jets, number 2 Bears.
Jets, you could just, whatever team Aaron Rodgers is on, you could do it every year. I think they could do the Jets again this year, and it would be really interesting. Again, the Bears are interesting because they're a team that's missed the playoffs and they would be eligible, but they're actually expected to be somewhat decent this year. And Caleb Williams would probably be great entertainment, and he'd give some good quotes. So I think the Bears would be a pretty good choice.
The Bears would be one of my choices. Like I mentioned, the Cardinals, I don't want to see Kyler Murray. He's an idiot. It'd be cool to see Marvin Harrison Jr. and try to interact with him, but yeah, that's kind of my 2 choices. I don't think you're going to get anybody from the AFC North. By the way, the AFC North has the strongest strength of schedule this year. That just came out as well, at least according to the insiders. They said when you get the AFC North schedule, just because they know the opponents, they just don't know when, they're going to have the strongest strength of schedule this season out of any division in football. Yeah, the Jets. I really don't want to see the Patriots. Did you hear the Patriots are on a search now for another general manager?
Why does that make any sense? They just let Elliott Wolf do the draft.
Right.
They let Elliott Wolf draft the quarterback of the future. So unless the owner picked the guy and Elliott Wolf was just the guy kind of, making the clicks on the computer and dialing the phones, I don't get it. I don't get why they would do this with this timing and in this order. It doesn't make sense.
The only thing, well, two things. One is you let Elliott Wolf do it because he was kind of the de facto guy. So you needed a guy that was in charge and knew all the scouts, knew all the opinions, knew all the personalities in the room. So I understand that. One of two things is happening here. Either one, that they're just putting it out there for a search to see if there's anybody better, but Wolf has the job. So they're going to do their due diligence because we do have Rooney rules in place and such, and you want to do your due diligence as an owner to make sure it looks like you're complying. So it could be that he's already got the job. It's just that they're going to take a look just to see. Or two, for everybody that's always clamored for Elliott Wolf in Green Bay, if maybe Robert Kraft is looking at the same thing going, yeah, I like the guy, but he's not general manager material. I mean, again, he was there in Cleveland. He's traveled a bit. He's been in New England now. And if he doesn't get this job after not getting the Packers, not getting the Browns, not getting the Patriots, at some point do you go, I wonder what flaw there is there that he's not the guy. That he's a great underling, but he's not the guy. And maybe it makes you think, okay, when the Packers passed, maybe they really didn't make a mistake. Like so many Packers fans here want to believe because he was the next Ron Wolf and the next coming. And, I can't tell you how many times you see guys that are sons of, and they just, don't succeed. They don't live up to that same level that dad did. I mean, the first guy that you can think of that actually did is a guy like Cal Ripken Jr. I mean, Cal Ripken Jr., incredible. He superseded what his dad did as a baseball player. But Clay Matthews, maybe, better than his dad. I don't know. His dad's a hell of a player. And Clay Matthews, just because of the nagging injuries, I don't think was ever able to supersede his dad. I know, growing up in Ohio, God, when David Shula took over the Cincinnati Bengals as the head coach, everybody kept thinking, oh, there's Don Shula on the sideline. He was a train wreck. So he wasn't nearly as good as dad. So I'm trying to think of all the guys that, Ken Griffey Jr. superseded his dad, that's for sure. But we'll see if Marvin Harrison Jr. does. But I'm trying to think of, there's a lot of guys that come into the league and they're not their dads. And maybe, just maybe, that Elliott Wolf is not his dad. But I get the sense that maybe this time he's going to stick, that they feel like they're going to go through the search, do their due diligence, and then still ultimately end up on Elliott Wolf. I think they could still do that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, go ahead and do it. We would love to hear from you. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends over there at Sloppy Joe's and Saloon, the Sloppy Joe's Saloon and Spoon, and then Smoke on the Water out in Oconee. They had a great weekend this past weekend with music and some prime rib. This weekend, obviously, the big Mother's Day brunch at the Below Deck. And if you haven't made a reservation already, I think they still have a few available. If you're looking for a place to take mom, it should be a decent day. They can open up the garage doors. You can look out on the lake. You can just enjoy a breakfast with mom. That would be fantastic. Smoke on the Water in Oconee Lake and Sloppy Joe's Saloon and Spoon on Hubertus in Hubertus. One set of great owners, Joe and Ellen Hennis. They're fantastic people, but two great places. One, Lake Country. The other one, traditional Wisconsin. It just feels like Wisconsin when you walk through the doors. Both places, absolutely awesome. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
If you got to take one for the team, at least look to Bobcat Plus to help you out. Bobcat Plus has been keeping you from the aches and the pains of the tough jobs for years. Bobcat Plus carries new and used Bobcat equipment, and all locations have a full service department, parts, and rentals. They're in Eau Claire, Buck Butler, Appleton, and De Pere, featuring a full lineup of compact wheel and truck loaders, mini excavators, compact tractors, zero-turn mowers, hundreds of hard-working attachments, and so much more. Stop in or visit BobcatPlus.com. Bobcat, one tough animal.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing, and it makes it comfortable for the life we live, which is an active one.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside.
For the first time, our whole house actually feels like the same climate.
And no drafts. It's a game changer.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella, and if you order today, you get 0% interest for up to 60 months. When it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows and doors, you want to be confident about your decisions. With Pella Design Works, you can see what your home could look like before you buy. Black frame windows or white, vinyl, wood, or fiberglass. Bring your vision to life and rest assured it's the perfect style for your home. Right now, get 0% interest-free financing for up to 60 months when you order by May 10th. Set your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 5/10/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. On the air on this Hump Day Wednesday. Got to say thanks to our friends at ESOR Realty, which stands for, by the way, excellent service equaling outstanding results. our buddy Ben Jarvis. Ben, obviously, in the U.S. Army, he was a veteran, 23 years, by the way, of service, retired back in 2017, and then opened up the ESOR Realty Group, and they have been fantastic. They're located basically in Waukesha, Wisconsin, but they handle a lot of different areas, and they're full-service real estate brokerage. They support local big time, which they're a huge supporter of our motorcycle ride, so thanks to them for that. We thank them from the bottom of our hearts. But their clients, I mean, when you talk to some people that have actually worked with them, they get a really comprehensive commission disclosure, the personal guidance that Ben and his staff give them. They also give them, information on pre-approvals, VA programs, grants, credit repair. I mean, just the stories you hear about people that have worked with Ben and the ESOR Realty Group, it's been great. If you go to esorgroup.com, esorgroup.com, you can read up more, or just hit them up at 414-721-6233, 414-721-6233. And again, thanks to Ben and the whole staff at ESOR Realty for their support of our motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 1st. And again, and Ben rides in it, man, puts his money where his mouth is. Not only does he just kind of, support us, but he's a rider. And he's going to be with us, and we can't say thanks enough to him, our guy James Mercado and the gang over at Veterans America. I mean, I can go on and on. We've got so many great sponsors that are a part of this, but ESOR Realty Group, first year with us, but Ben's been a rider on the event for numerous years. So this year he stepped up and said, hey, we're doing well. We'd like to give back, and ESOR Realty, thanks. Kudos to you guys for hanging out with us and joining us on Sunday, September 1st. For the motorcycle ride. By the way, if you want more information on the ride and on the foundation, go to bigunitfoundation.com. That is bigunitfoundation.com. Again, Big Unit Foundation, 3 words, put them all together.com and find out there. So coming up bottom of the hour, J.R. Radcliffe going to join us, going to talk a little bit more about the exciting news that is Christian Yelich back in the lineup. Back in the lineup. Kid you not. He's back in the lineup. So you got Christian Yelich coming back. So we've been talking a little bit about that. And then more so than anything, we've also been talking about the Green Bay Packers, Adam Stenavich, talking about the offense and the offensive line, the mix and match, the depth that they have at the wideout position, the depth that they have at the running back position, the depth that they have over at the tight end position. I'm not going to say, because, and Mark sent me an email. Mark said, looking at everything they have on offense and what they did last year, is this now the best offense we've seen in over a decade? It's very hard for me to compare because everybody brings something different. But if, let me throw this out there before everybody starts going crazy. You're not going to have the level of depth, at least I don't see it. You're not going to have the level of depth you had back in 2010, 2011. You're not going to have Jordy. And you're not going to have James Jones. You're not going to have Donald. You're not going to have Jermichael. You're not. I mean, you go through that whole list. You just. I don't think you're going to have that same level. You're not going to be anchored on one side by Balaga and Chad Clifton and that big, massive road grading offensive line that they had. You're not going to have that. But as far as what's your weakest position, and you start to look. You're probably as deep as you've been since then, at least perceptually on paper right now. Now, whether or not they achieve the same results, I can't imagine it. Because that team coming into 2011, 2012, the 15-1 season, that team was a scoring machine. Even though they didn't win a championship and they got ousted by the Giants at Lambeau Field. And we kind of got a little bit of a foreshadowing of it with their only blemish when they went into Kansas City and Romeo Crennel and the Kansas City Chiefs figure out just smash them in the mouth and you can beat them. But that team scored easily. They almost spoiled us and ruined us for a long period of time because that was the level of expectation we had year after year after year after year. They were just. That was a team that, man, oh, man, oh, man. They were amazing, And then when it came down to it, they underachieved wholeheartedly. But I don't think this team is that same level. You know? Maybe I'm off in my comparison, but yeah. Steve said they lost Tauscher that year and could just plug in their first-round pick, Brian Bulaga. Yes. And Bulaga played well, played admirably. 100% agree with you.
I think it's their deepest group of skill position players they've had since 2011. Because, like, it was Jordy and everybody else. And that offense is good. And then Adams and everyone else. And that was good, too. But I think this is
back then, too.
Yep. So I think probably since the 2011-ish era team, like, they haven't had a wide receiver group, tight end group this deep.
Right. That team was so good. So good. And it would be hard for me to say that this team is that good, but man. And then that next year, don't forget, they kicked off the season when they drafted Randall Cobb, and Randall Cobb took the opening kickoff for the season back for a touchdown in 2011, 2012. They added him in. Remember, they ended up beating the Saints. Kid Rock had the big concert out in the parking lot. The whole place was just rocking. Sun is shining, opening kickoff, and there goes Randall Cobb. And you're like, oh, my God, we didn't think it could get better, but it got better. It was crazy how good that team was. Just an amazing group of guys. 877-867-1670. That year, too, by the way. Think about this. With all the weapons they had, Rodgers threw for just, it was like 4,600 yards, somewhere in there. But he had 45 touchdowns and 6 picks. It was stupid how good that team was. They had Ryan Grant, James Starks, Kuhn. Kuhn was your fullback. I mean, that was just incredible. Randall Cobb. And then you get into the Driver. They had, wow. I mean, I'm just sitting here trying to go through some of the guys they had. Jordy was at his height. Then you had Mason Crosby, Greg Jennings, Jermichael Finley, James Jones, Donald Driver, Randall Cobb. That team that year, I mean, hell, even your backup Tom Crabtree was solid. They were so good. So is this team this year that deep? We'll say that deep, yes. That level of play, I would find it hard to believe that they would end up being that good. If they do, surprise me and make me smile ear to ear. I just would find it hard to believe that they would be that level of good. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. I do want to talk a little more Brewers. You got Christian Yelich coming back today. They get a nice win yesterday. Get a win today, salvage the road trip a little bit, and then you come back home for a 7-gamer against 4 against St. Louis, 3 against Pittsburgh, before heading back out again. So I want to talk some Brewers baseball when we come back. So don't go anywhere. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Stoley's Hog Alley and Stoll's Old 109. If you're looking for a great fish fry, that's the place to go. They have that salted rye bread. Oh, my God, that stuff's so good. Even when I get carry out, it's good when you get it home. Even when you put it in the styrofoam, it's still good when you get it home. God, that stuff is fantastic. Whether it's that, the ice-cold beer that they have, the TVs, patio doors, the big garage doors are now open. The patios are open. The front porch is open. The upper deck at Stoley's Hog Alley that they renovated last year is now open. I mean, it's just, I can't wait. Do a little riding, do a little enjoying, good food, good friends, great people. Jeff and Alicia Stoll, they're fantastic. Stoley's Hog Alley on Venice Beach Road in Oconomowoc, or Stoll's Old 109 at County Road R in Watertown. Both places, fantastic.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The engines are coming to life. It's race season again. Vintage, Superbikes, IndyCar, and more. For tickets and information, go to roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com.
Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May. Score free play, cash. One of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries. 5 times the entries on drawing days and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes, slugger? Only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hard to find in the streets of stone. Modern warriors, satellite horses of chrome. Tasting wild.
Good to have you back. Brewers today taking on Kansas City. Trying to get that second game, the rubber match game. The good news is, for those that were hoping to see Christian Yelich back sooner rather than later, he is back. He is officially back. So that was good news. We just got that a little while ago. And joining us on the hotline, our guy J.R. Radcliffe is here. You can find him if you go to X and or Twitter, if you want to call it that, at J.R. Radcliffe, covering the Milwaukee Brewers. J.R., how you doing, pal?
I am doing fantastic, Bill. How are you doing?
We're doing good today. Obviously, the storms are past, and when the sun came out, we found out that Christian Yelich is back. So let's start there. Christian Yelich coming back, Black going down, which I'm okay with that. But I mean, God, if he can give you what he was giving you before he went down with injury, what a huge boost he'll be to that lineup.
Needless to say, I mean, and coming at the right time, because it feels like whatever magic this offense had in the beginning was really nice. It was a lot of singles. I think we probably could imagine it wasn't going to last forever, and it has not lasted forever. There are guys who, are kind of just going through it a little bit. That's how this always goes early in the season, and they just need that juice. They need that guy back who can really produce for them. William Contreras can't do it all on his own. We've seen a few home runs lately from Willie Adames, and he's been really good actually offensively this year, but They need at least one more guy. And yes, there's a concern that, he won't be great right away because coming off a back injury, who knows what to expect. And, we've had it before where he's come back and then had to go back on the IL. So, we'll probably be holding our breath a little bit here in the early going. But, man, that is a really nice shot in the arm. Couple division opponents coming up on the schedule. So it's just a really nice time to have him back.
Speaking of divisional opponents, they really got spanked by the Yankees, and they took a loss against Tampa Bay. The Cubs get 2 out of 3. You've got a rubber match today against Kansas City. What has been somewhat ailing this team, in your opinion?
Yeah, I guess my concern isn't even what ails them right now. It's, can the pitching staff hold it together forever? When the starters don't go deep into games, when the bullpen is getting, heavily used. This is a storyline that keeps recurring. So far, it actually probably hasn't been that bad. The bullpen's been holding it together. The pitching has been holding it together. You're just not seeing, I think, the level of offense maybe they anticipated to overcome some of the shortcomings that are just built into this pitching staff. I think the pitching has done its job. It's not enough offense to sort of counteract that. You're not always going to get great starts from the starting rotation where Colin Ray is, one of your 3 best starting pitchers, maybe one of your 2 best starting pitchers. It's just going to be par for the course, but they have held it together. I would be concerned that there's a long-term, drawback to that you're going to have guys who are taxed, but what do I know? I mean, so far that has not been the case, but they do need more offense.
The one thing I will say, and we started to go through this yesterday, if we would have said Christian Yelich would miss time, Wade Miley would be done for the season, Devin Williams would be down, you've had some injuries on your staff, you had Gary Mitchell going down, you start to list all these injuries, and you'd say, oh, by the way, with a team you really weren't sure, when you lose Burns, you lose Woodruff, and, Devin Williams has been, Freddie Peralta has been good, but not spectacular. And, oh, by the way, on May 8th, they're in first place. I think we'd all take that, right?
For sure. I would say that if they're, you see the Cubs have had their own problems with injuries. They've had a lot of guys missing in their rotation, and Cody Bellinger has been out, and they are also in the same place. So I don't know if the Brewers' problems are significantly greater than the Cubs, but they're certainly notable. I mean, you certainly can't say that the Brewers have not been impacted by injuries early in the season, and frequently when they have their best seasons, it's because guys didn't get hurt. They got lucky, and maybe that will be the case later in the year. Maybe all these guys get healthy and can contribute, and they don't have, Wade Miley isn't coming back, and Brandon Woodruff won't be back, but maybe they can piece it together long enough to get everybody healthy long enough. I mean, it's certainly better than being, 7 games below 500 and needing to make up ground. They don't have to do that right now. They can just tread water. They've put themselves in that position early, and we'll see. These divisional games will be interesting. You could see them kind of like hitting the gas and taking another step forward, or backsliding to the point that they have to start to figure some things out because the currents are trending against them. So this is an interesting little month of May here.
What has been the turnaround for Bryce Terang? I mean, he has been everything that you hoped he would be and more.
Yes, so Terang's an interesting case. I mean, he's not a guy who hits for power. We know this. He's not a guy who drives the ball even. He's not a double hitter even. And usually, I would say, at the big league level, that doesn't often play well. But he has really found an ability to keep at bats alive. He's leaning into just making contact, even if it's not great, crisp contact. And he is singling all over the field. Again, I would normally say that's not a good thing. But now couple that with the fact that the man can fly. He's always been fast, and he is fast. Couple that with his defense, which we know is kind of beyond reproach. And suddenly you wind up with a player who's very, very valuable. You lean into that hit tool. I think there's going to be weeks and maybe even a month that go by where Bryce Terang is not is not getting on base, and that he struggles because he isn't capable of kind of offsetting that with some power. But as a second baseman, no one expects second baseman to hit 25 home runs. Like he's doing what is within his skill set to be a productive player, and has turned himself into one of the best players on this team, at least for now, which is obviously very, very exciting. It's nobody else has really taken a step forward from that like sophomore class. Mitchell's been hurt, Weimer's been hurt, but also struggled, and Frelick has been just okay at best. So you need those guys to step forward too, but it's nice that at least one of them has kind of broken through and figured out kind of where they can best contribute on this team.
Rhys Hoskins, to me, has to play every day. He's got to battle through whatever he's going through, and he's got to get more at bats because the power numbers can be there. But I think he's got to play every day. What do you think?
I mean, it just depends on, can you afford to have him at first base? Because you can't have him DHing every day. William Contreras is going to need a day off from catching once in a while, and there are other guys you're going to want to cycle into that spot. So that means Rhys Hoskins plays first base. His defense, not great. So you've got to be able to overcome that, or, figure out a way to make that work for you. I think for the most part, he does play every day. Rhys, he's in there quite a bit. And I want to remind people that he was not great the year before, his ACL injury. Like his numbers had taken a drop, and then he missed a whole year with an ACL injury. He's still, in my mind, a really great signing. He's exactly the guy I would have wanted the Brewers to go after. But there's a risk there. There's a risk that he's not going to be an elite player going forward, that this is kind of the best version of him. There's probably a little more in the tank, I would think. But this is okay. I mean, this is kind of what you had to expect from Rhys Hoskins. So if you want him to hit a homer every third game, that's probably not realistic, at this stage of his career, this age. But I think he's doing okay, and I think he's been in there for the most part every day.
I wanted to ask you about, obviously we've got Christian Yelich coming back, and you hope the offense kind of picks up. But looking at this team and what it is they need going forward, you certainly hope that he returns to what he was prior to, and then things really begin to pick up, and he kind of alleviates a little bit of that lineup as well. But I look at Ortiz, and he's been playing well. I look at some of the guys that have had opportunities. I look at the fact that they steal bases, and I love what they're doing. What do they, like you said, can this sustain? What do they need to do, in your opinion, as we get into June and then we start really efforting towards July?
I mean, if a team like the Marlins decides they want to sell off pitching, I absolutely go after that, even though the pitching has held it together. If you can get another guy who's capable of going 6 innings as a starter, that's going to be a really valuable asset. And maybe they can get that guy in Robert Gasser or somebody else who's already in the organization. But right now, even Freddie Peralta, like, how many guys do you trust to go a full 6 innings every start? There aren't many, if any of them. So I would say that they need that length at some point. Maybe not right now, but they need it eventually. And then I would love to see Joey Ortiz play every day at third base. I mean, Oliver Dunn, I really like that. I really like his game. I think he's going to be a pretty solid player. I think he's a little overwhelmed right now, and it would be maybe maybe behoove him to go down and let Joey Ortiz be the guy every day. I think that's probably where we're trending anyway. But I'd really like to see what he provides, because if he's capable of adding even a little bit of power, a little bit of drive, doubles, et cetera, at third base, well, that's something they haven't had. That's something they don't have yet. So that would be a good source of additional power. Their outfield, for as deep as it is, has gotten a little thin. So they might need a body or two if guys, unless guys start to really get healthy. Otherwise, I think they're pretty set around the diamond. Things have come together. It's just a matter of getting a couple guys to produce more that are there, like Sal Frelick, a little bit more production than what you've gotten. Jackson Chariot around into shape and become a little bit make those adjustments that you have to make as a 20-year-old rookie.
How much do they need a good game out of Joe Ross today? Joe Ross right now, he's got one win. He's got a 4.65 ERA. He struggled a little bit. Tobias Myers, not bad. Certainly Bryce Wilson has been a breath of fresh air, and he's kind of maybe saved it a little bit because of the outings that he's had, back-to-back quality starts. But how bad does Joe Ross need a good outing today?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking about with the starting pitchers. Some of them, they're okay. You just can't expect them to go out there and give you 6 shutdown innings. And Joe Ross throws, in my opinion, his slider might actually be the best pitch on this pitching staff among the healthy guys. Devin Williams' changeup would win that argument 10 out of 10, but of the guys available, that slider is nasty. The thing is, you can't just throw fastballs and sliders if you're a starting pitcher. Now, that's kind of Joe Ross's game. That kind of profiles as a reliever. I really feel like in a perfect world, Joe Ross is a pretty solid reliever for this team, but that's not the luxury they have right now. So they're, again, and Bryce Wilson, you mentioned him too, they're kind of holding it together with guys who I think, might profile a little better as relievers. Wilson's been great. Joe Ross has been hit and miss because, we've seen some starts where he's actually very good. I don't know if they need anything specific out of him today, but that's one of those games where you just go with a guy who's a starter for now and hold your breath and hope he can get through 5 solid, maybe even into the 6th, and let your bullpen have it at that point.
We were talking the other day, there was an article out of CBS Sports was talking about Jackson Chariot, and maybe it would be good for him to go down and get more swings and get more looks and kind of work it out, because 40% of his swing and misses on third strikes are breaking balls low and away, and they've kind of figured him out a little bit. Do you think he needs to go down, or do you think he's going to be okay swinging through it up here in the bigs?
I think that's fascinating. I don't know for sure. I will say that I'm actually surprised Tyler Black went down with the Christian Yelich activation. I feel like that's a guy that, should probably be proving everything he can with the bat. If you send him down, it's more to get work on defense, which I guess makes some sense. But I'd love to see him keep developing. And, Churio, over the course of his brief minor league career, has made adjustments. There are times where he's struggled and he has figured out what's bothered him and made that work for him. And I think that's going to translate on the big league level as well. If putting him at AAA necessarily gives him those options, because I feel like right now it's just a matter of successfully, having success against big league pitching specifically. He's going to mash if he goes to AAA. He's not going to learn a whole lot that he can't learn by kind of going through it a little bit. I think the Brewers knew he was going to go through it a little bit, so I would advocate to not send him down at this point. If the struggles, obviously if they crater and they just can't afford to have him in the lineup, that's a totally different story. But I think right now you let that guy battle through it, because he's going to be special once he adjusts. JR, great stuff as always, man. We'll pick your brain a little bit further down the road, okay? Sounds great, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, pal. There you go. JR Radcliffe, at JR Radcliffe. If you follow him over on Twitter, covers the Brewers for the Journal Sentinel. Good stuff. And like we said, there's a lot of positives. You're just wondering, as a Brewers fan, can they just continue to hold it together? That's it. Can they just continue to hold it together? That's it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, do it. Hey, I got to say thanks to our friends at Epoxy Flooring Done Right, epoxyflooringdoneright.com. Based right here in the state of Wisconsin. And you want to get your floor epoxied, polyurea coating, the room painted, garage floors, basement floors, showroom floors for your business, maybe a bar floor, concrete bar floor you want to have redone. That's the way to go. Go to epoxyflooringdoneright.com and based right here in Wisconsin. So if you have a problem with it, God forbid you do, but if you have a problem with it, he's right here. Unlike a lot of the companies that are coming into Wisconsin that are starting to do this, and people are having problems and they're going, well, you got to come back and do it. And they say, well, sue us. You're never going to catch us. Shawne does it. 262-443-2852. 262-443-2852. Again, 262-443-2852. 2852. That is epoxyflooringdoneright.com.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing, and it makes it comfortable for the life we live, which is an active one.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside.
For the first time, our whole house actually feels like the same climate.
And no drafts. It's a game changer.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. And if you order today, you get 0% interest for up to 60 months. When it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows and doors, you want to be confident about your decisions. With Pella Design Works, you can see what your home could look like before you buy. Black frame windows or white, vinyl, wood, or fiberglass. Bring your vision to life and rest assured it's the perfect style for your home. Right now, get 0% interest-free financing for up to 60 months when you order by May 10th. Set your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 5/10/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Got another hour coming up. Brewers baseball. We'll keep you up to date. Stay with us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of good stuff. And next hour, going to continue to talk some Packers, talk some Brewers, open phone lines, all that kind of good stuff. get into all of that. And by the way, the text line is open as well, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. Again, 608-321-1670. You want your voice to be heard. You can hit us up there via the text messages. So if you can't chime in on the live stream, you can always do it via text. If you can't make a phone call, boss won't let you. That's okay. You can still be heard in that aspect as well. I want to remind you, coming up on Sunday, September 1st, we ride for veterans, military members, their families, first responders, and it is the 17th annual Big Units Poker Run. Going to start down at the Milwaukee at the Harley-Davidson Museum again this year, and we thank everybody down at the museum for being a big supporter of the program. And then we're going to go ride. One of our stops is going to be Great Lakes Dragaway. We're looking forward to stopping down there again this year. Good to get back. And then we're going to end up with the Rockin', the Red, White, and Brew Fest. And we're going to have some local bands. Our guys from Count 77, Danny Coker, a.k.a. The Count from the show Counting Cars, going to be there. We've got Great White, the 80s and 90s rock band's going to be there. We've got another one that we're going to be announcing real soon. Tickets for the entire event to the general public going to go on sale next week. But right now, if you are a rider or a passenger, we want you to get signed up because there's an allotment of free tickets for the riders and for those that support the cause. And then there's the other tickets that go on sale. So, and they've been selling quick. We certainly appreciate everybody that has already gotten pre-registered. But as a pre-registrant and riding on the ride, you get the ride, you get free admission into the concert, free parking at the concert, free admission into Great Lakes Dragaway, all for that one price. $35 for the bike, $27 for the passenger, when the general admission ticket for just the concert, once that goes on sale, is going to be $50. So you're getting a hell of a deal for both you and your passenger. And don't forget, those proceeds goes directly to the cause. That is supporting our veterans, military members, their families, first responders. And we've always supported Fisher House, Wisconsin, and love it. Near and dear to our heart. So get registered. You can do it in many different facets. Go to bigunitfoundation.com. You can find it, Big Unit Poker Run, over on Facebook. If you're watching online, you can scan the QR code. Plenty of ways to get registered. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers and Royals going to finish out their 3-game set with a rubber match this afternoon. Last night, it appeared Kansas City would take the first 2 games as they had the Brewers down to their last out in the 9th. Then Willie Adames stepped to the plate, drove the 3-run homer to take the lead and push Milwaukee to the win, making it even better. Adames actually called his shot, according to manager Pat Murphy.
No, it was unbelievable. I watched this and I'm looking at Ricky and I'm looking back at him, and he's carrying on with them during Gary's at bat. And he's telling them, they're all Kansas City fans, and he's telling them, one more ball. It was a 3-0 pitch and then 3-1. And he goes, one more. And he turned back to him and he goes, here we go. Watch this. And up there. I mean, it was like, did I just see that? It was a cool moment.
Again, the Brewers and Royals will close out their series this afternoon. Joe Ross will get the ball for Milwaukee. Comes in 1-3 with a 4.65 ERA. Kansas City challenge with Brady Singer. He enters 2-1 with a 2.45 ERA. First pitch is coming up at 1:10.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
All business owners want the same thing, to make their business succeed. At Rural Mutual, they help that happen. As the 3rd largest writer of commercial business in Wisconsin, they take the time to learn your business so they can properly protect you. Call your local agent today or visit ruralmutual.com.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the NFL announced yesterday that they would release the 2024 schedule next Wednesday. Teams already know who they're going to play and mostly where those games will happen. But the schedule release will tell them when. Packers do know how their season will start in Brazil Friday, September 6th. The first NFL game in South America going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Meanwhile, Packers offseason program continuing. They're going to get OTAs going here in a couple of weeks. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Good to have you back. Bill Michaels Show in this hour. Talk some Packers, talk some Brewers. Kind of open it up. 877-867-1670. The text line, 608-321-1670 as well. 608-321-1670. And we got a lot to get to. Rick from Spencer says, by the way, listening to Steno, he said, I think Steno is a better offensive coordinator than Nathaniel Hackett. What do you think? I think yes, but I got a different perspective on it. I'll say yes because of two reasons. One is Steno really had his hands on that offensive line. That offensive line was plug and play, man. And he did a fantastic job with that. And then when he took over as the offensive coordinator after Nathaniel Hackett left, it took a little while for everybody to morph into their new roles. And I think now it's pretty solid because the attention went back to the offensive line and everybody started getting better last year, if that makes sense. But I also think that Nathaniel Hackett, and I'm not here to jump on Nathaniel Hackett, but we know the job he did and kind of the way he was handcuffed in Denver. And he gets handcuffed again when Aaron Rodgers goes down 76 seconds into the season. But the pivot for that has not been a great transition. When there's been adversity, it hasn't worked for him. So I don't know if he's great. I don't know if he's just, he got a lot of notoriety because he's Aaron's guy. But how much does he help Aaron or vice versa? I think his career is far more advanced because of Rodgers rather than he advancing Rodgers. Stenovich has had a hand in watching the development of this team and what they went through last year to where they ended up last year to the expectations of this year. So that's a great question. But if I had to pick one today, I'd probably go with Stenovich. Just like to do that. Morning, Bill, from the 715. With the new strength and conditioning coach, maybe injuries go down. After seeing a few videos, it seems that they're stretching out a lot more. Living a dream, and that's our buddy Jeff. Jeff, first of all, I'm glad you're living a dream. Secondly, I have been on the stretching bandwagon for a long time. Guys that have soft tissue injuries that are stars, if you've ever watched them, and specifically like pregame, how they kind of go through the motion. Clay Matthews, by the time his career came to an end in Green Bay, that guy stretched and hopped and moved and did everything prior to a game to try to get himself into shape, to try to get himself doing what's right. I mean, he did everything. So, there's always, to prevent soft tissue injuries, you have to stretch out. So I haven't seen the videos of it or anything like that yet, but, get excited. I'm hoping that things are going to be good, that the soft tissue injuries, the core injuries, the hamstring injuries, all that, it runs in cycles too. Sometimes it just happens, unfortunately. Tom in La Crosse says, Bill does not like boobs. Tom, that's not what I said. Tom, and this goes back to our Paige Sporanic talk. Tom, let me give you a little bit of an example here, okay? I am going to step back in time, and I'm going to give you a little Vince Lombardi, okay? Doesn't matter the size or the shape, whatever it is your thing is. You like big boobs, small boobs, whatever it happens to be. My motto is and always will be, act like you've been there before. That's it. Because I don't get excited and I don't start retweeting and posting pictures of Paige Sporanic in a tight dress with everything hanging out. Doesn't mean I don't like boobs. Yes, I do. I just act like I've been there before. That's the best advice I can give you, man. Here we go. Rick says, Rockin' Rick says, just looked up Paige. Wowza. Turn me into a bobblehead. People are going crazy over this. Robin Stoddard said, Bill, as a Bears fan, I'll say this. The Packers had a solid draft in free agency this year. Their offensive line won't be a problem because of how the Packers develop O-linemen. I have the Bears penciled in at 4-3 or 5-12. Really? I think the Bears are going to end up with more wins than that. I just think because their defense is that good, or at least perceptually for what they did towards the end of the season. So I've got more faith in your Bears maybe than you do. But I think the Bears are climbing out of the cellar. I think the Bears are going to be a couple of games ahead of Minnesota. I just do. I would be shocked. The only let me back this up, Rob. The only thing keeping them from excelling would be the quarterback. If everything that was thought and ignored is actually true and fact-bearing, and I'm talking about the immaturity and, the protection that he had from Lincoln Riley and how people couldn't talk to him because he was upset and all of his issues, that crap doesn't fly in Chicago, man. You are sought out. You are sought out. Now, I know he's received standing ovations at Wrigley Field. Speaking of that, did you see Zach Edey throw out the first pitch yesterday?
Yeah, didn't look that different when he tries to play basketball. He's not skilled. No, well, he doesn't have good hand-eye coordination.
He was supposed to be a pitcher in high school.
Didn't show it yesterday.
No, that was terrible. Even the mascot turned around like, what the hell was that?
That was funny. The Cubby Bear turned over over his shoulder.
Around. Yeah, the Bear turns around like, what the hell, dude? I mean, I get it. If you don't warm up and you don't, throw right away, somebody, you try to go out there and heat it up and look cool. But that was terrible. That was awful. There's been a lot of bad first pitches that we've seen over the last few years, maybe decade, but that was right up there with being bad. I mean, Stephen A. Smith was bad. He's supposed to be this athlete too. He was terrible.
50 Cent, one of the worst.
50 Cent was terrible. Remember when who was it? I think it was a Cincinnati mayor hit threw it into the crowd. Do you remember that? Look up Cincinnati mayor first pitch. That was one of the worst I've ever seen. That wasn't even up there with Bull Durham and hit the bull. That was awful. So, yeah, that was so Caleb Williams, getting back to that conversation. We'll just see. The only way I think the Bears are bad is if Caleb Williams is not good. If everything that was kind of ignored and glossed over as he's got this high character, he's got this high emotion, he's got this high everything. If that was glossed over, then yeah, they would have some issues. That would be it. 877-867-1670. This is from the 414. Hey, Bill, I've been wanting to ask you, since your show got picked up in Milwaukee, who is singing that atrocious version of Styx's Lorelei? That's Styx. That is the original. That is Styx. Just so you know. That is off of their album. There you have it. I think it's Tommy Shaw, James Young.
I just watched his first pitch, by the way. That's bad.
That was terrible, wasn't it? That was awful.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that actually hurts you in an election. That's how bad it was.
Right? That's embarrassingly bad. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Yeah, Mike says the Cincinnati Mayor's pitch was so bad that the ump actually tossed him. And he was standing like he wasn't even like on the mound, right? He was off to the side or something like that.
The pitch was just as close to going into the first base side or the first base dugout as it was going to the home plate.
Right.
Like, that's how bad it was.
Right. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. By the way, Rick, he said James Young, not Dennis DeYoung. I would never have the words Dennis DeYoung come out of my mouth. You heard it wrong. I said James Young, JY or Tommy Shaw. Those are the two guys that usually sing the most. Otherwise, it's their new keyboardist. That is the newest version of Dennis DeYoung. Dennis DeYoung couldn't care less about. So anyway, there you go. A couple more emails I want to get to. Some people that wanted to chime in. This is from Drake, listening to us in Madison. Says, does LaFleur have more in the playbook since last year was a learning year? The answer to that is yes. They'll go deeper into the playbook wholeheartedly. And let's be honest, it's not every year things morph if you're a good offensive coordinator or a good play caller, because you will use guys as their talents allow. You may not be calling as many downfield plays, but if you've got 2 or 3 guys that run really good routes and now they know where they're supposed to be, that could open up other things. Before you're just trying to get guys open, you're just scheming to get guys open. But here's the question. Do they do more of that stuff? Because last year, remember, it wasn't until they really got to the midseason and Jordan Love hit his stride. Jordan Love started with quick 2-step drops and get rid of the damn ball. He took a lot of pressure off of the offensive line because he got rid of the ball. 2-step bang, get it out. Let your playmakers do their job. Get it out. 2, 3-step drop, bang, get rid of the football. That's what he did. It's the reason he wasn't being sacked all the time. I mean, there was a couple of times he had a little bit of a scramble and had to run around, and guys got to him pretty quick. But for the most part, it was a lot had to do with Jordan Love and his ability to get rid of the football. So, to answer your question, will they open up more of the playbook? I just think that they're not only going to open it up, but they're going to do more with it. Yes. Boy, that fast. Brewers back-to-back doubles, and they're up 1-0. Top of the first. I'm excited. Brewers
when did Bryce Turang just become a good hitter all of a sudden? I don't get it. Like, I was kind of laughing a little bit during spring training when Murphy's, I think he's going to take a quantum leap. And I'm like, okay, sure. He was hitting 160 last year, but
right.
I
Turang
don't know. He looks like
with a double. Yeah. Contreras goes to the exact same spot, the left center field gap to the wall. He hits a double. Now you got Christian Yelich standing at the plate.
I don't get what got into Bryce Turang this offseason, but whatever it was, I'm glad it happened.
I'm telling you, I'm sure they're drug testing him after every game. It's not like he's powering the ball out of the ballpark, though. It's not like the power numbers have gone crazy. It's just guys making contact, and he's just on it. Maybe he's just seeing it better. I mean, I don't know, but he's just on it. He's just on it. So 877-867-1670. You want to chime in? Do it. You can text us 608-321-1670. 608-321-1670. You can text us, email us, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. You can find us there as well. This portion of the program being brought to you by our friends over there at Veterans America, part of Provisor, which has been around a long time. But Veterans America, they had this group where they started noticing that more and more of the loans for military members and veterans and such were coming in, and they didn't know all the ins and outs of VA and all the different governmental requirements and such. So James Mercado, being a big supporter of the military, he said, let's put a group together that just concentrates on this. And they sent them to school. They had them work with the VA. They had them work with the government. And now they know it. And they know it better than a lot of the credit unions that are basically military-based know it. And they help save money for veterans and military members and their families all the time. Get a hold of James Mercado and the gang over at Veterans America. Own the land you defend. 262-745-3333. 262-745-3333. Again, 262-745-3333. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May, score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries, 5 times the entries on drawing days, and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes, Slugger? Only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I know getting downtown, maybe not every night is the thing, but our friends at Calderon Club in San Giorgio, hey, you got a date night coming up. That's the way to go. Or maybe just love good Italian food, whatever it happens to be. Great stuff. Great stuff. Whether it's the spaghetti and meatballs, which are award-winning, by the way, or the spicy penne sashina, if you've got thin crust pizzas you're hankering, maybe the chicken marsala, the eggplant appetizer, the bruschetta, whatever. I mean, it's just all fantastic. And then I discovered the lobster and crab ravioli. I didn't even know that existed until my world was completely smashed in, and all of a sudden I've got now different things dancing in my head. But it's all down at Calderon Club, and right next door is San Giorgio, the authentic, certified out of Napoli, Italy, pizzeria. And there's only so many of these in the country. So San Giorgio next door, Calderon Club in the corner, 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee, right across the street from the Hyatt Hotel, and you cannot go wrong. There is nobody that I've ever sent there that said, nah, that wasn't a hit. Every person I've ever sent down there, emails or calls or texts, says, oh my God, it was amazing. Everybody. So you cannot go wrong. Calderon Club, San Giorgio, both places, absolutely, positively fantastic. Grant, what do you got for me? You got something, tidbits of something?
So Mike Vrabel, or not Mike Vrabel, Jason Vrabel, the Packers' former wide receiver coach, now the passing game coordinator, is speaking this afternoon, and so is Mike Clemens. A couple comments from Vrabel. The first one, he was asked about Christian Watson's health, and he said he's in a great place. It's a direct quote. And he said that he told Christian Watson, if there's ever a day you feel fatigued from multiple days in a row of doing things, let me know. So maybe that's the sign of a new strategy, maybe a little bit more conservative with how hard they're working him day to day in practice. Right. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think it's 2 words, load management. They are doing anything and everything they can not to fatigue him so that hamstring becomes an issue. So if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. They used to do that with Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews would sit out. He would just bounce around on the sideline and do workouts and stuff for practice, and he wasn't in on every snap. If he got, quote, the veterans rest, as they kind of called it, but they tried to manage him in that same way. Same thing. I mean, you get some guys that don't have that necessarily as problematic, but they give them a little bit of rest here and there just so they don't get fatigued and pull something. Maybe they're going to do the same thing with Christian Watson. And, if they do and it's successful, then that's the way to go. I mean, obviously you worry because it's football. You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be available. You're supposed to be practicing. Practice makes perfect. You win Wednesday through Friday, all that kind of yada, yada, which is true. But you also have to be available. And I think Christian Watson, if he feels like, hey, I'm getting a little bit worn down, I need a day, maybe that's the way they manage it. And maybe that's not a terrible thing. I wouldn't be not in favor of that.
Well, and remember, they brought in a new strength and conditioning coordinator / coach too.
Correct.
So I would imagine that when that guy got to town, one of the first things on his list was, okay, we got to make a plan on how to keep Christian Watson healthy, right? Like that's one of the big tasks for a new strength and conditioning coordinator coming into this Green Bay team. So maybe they sat down and they asked him questions. They said, in the past when you've gotten hurt, what's it been like and how's it happened? And maybe this is what they came up with. I don't know. Also, talking about the wide receivers, this is something that Vrabel said as well. Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed spent part of the offseason working out together in Florida. They rented a place down there, the two of them, and they lived together for a while and worked out and spent the offseason down there. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool. And that goes back to the camaraderie and the sit down and the sessions that the wide receivers had together that we found out about mid portion of the season that kind of said that they took it upon themselves to get better. Remember, we were highly criticizing Matt LaFleur. It was like, why are we seeing two guys run the same route and they're trying to catch a pass in the same area? And, why are these guys, you got a guy that's clearly supposed to be sitting in a zone and instead he's running down the field with his hand in the air. And they kind of self-corrected. I mean, I as much as you give Matt LaFleur credit, you give those guys credit for kind of policing themselves. So I agree with you. I agree with you that, I think it's kind of cool that it ended up that way.
Well, and I think it speaks to the way this team was built too, right? It's because, we've talked about this with Rodgers. He's almost 40. Guys are coming in and they're 24, 25. Like that's tough. There's a disconnect there. The wide receiver group for the last couple of years was also just, think Devontae Adams and a bunch of other guys. It would probably be hard for Adams to connect with those guys. Meanwhile, these guys came into the league at the same time. They're the same age. They like the same thing. So it's cool that they're spending time together.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, did you just see the play in center?
Yeah, that's why I tripped up on my words halfway through. Yeah, this team, man.
By the way, Perkins, center fielder guy. I mean, the Kansas City Royals lead off their bottom half of the inning with a double. A man on second, fly ball out to center. Perkins is kind of getting a beat on it, and all of a sudden his feet just went out from underneath him and he fell. The ball lands and next to him. So all of a sudden then you had, first and third with only one out, and then they end up on a sacrifice fly plating the run. So the game's now tied at 1 apiece. But it was just a very fluke thing in the outfield, like somebody just grabbed him by the ankles and ripped his feet out from underneath him. The weirdest thing. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, did it rain really hard down there? Because I thought it did. And did he hit like a soft spot or a wet spot or a muddy spot that was still in the field that maybe wasn't completely dry yet, and his feet just went out from underneath him? So really, yeah, Steve said it looks like a sniper shot him, right? Right? No doubt. Anything else coming out of Vrabel?
Nothing from Vrabel. Tom Clements had a couple comments. Tom Clements said, and was asked, I think this is a good question. He was asked about challenges that other teams are going to try to throw at Jordan Love, like what adjustments they might make this year. And he said, you might anticipate a defense making and bringing a little more pressure, disguising it a little bit more, and trying to make it more difficult for him to see where to go. So that's what Tom Clemens envisions in year 2 for Jordan Love. That seems to make sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you throw the kitchen sink at it. Here's the other thing that I think Jordan Love did so well with last year, specifically in the second half, is when I had mentioned getting rid of the football, it negated the blitzes. I mean, there's just guys were not getting to him because he got rid of the ball so quick. He just ran the offense the way you're supposed to run it. And I know that is almost a backhanded slap towards Aaron Rodgers, but he just ran the offense. Once the receiving corps got on the same page, and once they started kind of figuring out where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there, and Jordan Love could trust him, he just got rid of the football. And therefore, whatever you threw at him, whether it was, a blitz off the edge, something coming up the gut, whatever it was, he he was able to kind of just get rid of the football and not take those big hits. So you give him all the credit in the world. So this year, probably going to be some of the same. But again, if you just stay on the offense, you really won't have a major problem with it. I mean, Peyton Manning made a living at it. He had a great arm. He had an accurate arm. He threw downfield and threw the deep ball as well as anybody. But you couldn't get to him because he just got rid of the ball so damn fast. And he let his playmakers make plays. So we'll see if Jordan Love does that again this year as well.
Luke Buckus,
yes,
offensive line coach, just another thing. He said they want to cross-train everybody. That is almost like that was a thing that didn't even need to be said. He's like, we're going to cross-train everybody. But obviously, Josh Myers is our center. That was the quote. So they seem to, at least at this moment in time, publicly be very confident in him.
Or giving him the vote of confidence to say, okay, don't look over your shoulder, just work your ass off.
Sure. I mean, I don't know that the Zach Tom to center has... A lot of fans bring that up. I don't know that that's something the Packers are thinking about.
But they drafted that kid out of Duke too that can play center.
Mm-hmm,
so I don't even think me personally, I think the Zach Tom thing, while there is a reality to that, if they need him and there's injuries, I think because of the job that he did at the right tackle position, he's probably going to be the right tackle. I can't imagine him moving into guard, but he's probably going to be the right tackle, which means Jordan Morgan and Rasheed Walker are going to battle it out for that left tackle position.
I think so. I don't know that it's smart business to move someone who's played very well at tackle to center. Right. When centers are easier to find and tackles are harder to find, although not necessarily for the Packers. I mean, they find tackles everywhere.
Right. No doubt. We're going to take a quick break, come back. We got a lot more to get to, another half an hour yet to go. Don't go anywhere unless, of course, you're in La Crosse. Then head over to our friends at Buzzard Billy's. Buzzard Billy's on Pearl Street in La Crosse, Wisconsin, opened in 1997 in that former 1860s brick hotel. Beautiful building downtown. Downstairs, Buzzard Billy's. You go in, I'm telling you, that crispy chicken buffalo sandwich just dripping, you just stuff in your grill. It's so good. The Wisconsin beer cheese soup is outstanding. And then I don't get the fries, I get the hush puppies. Those things are as big as meatballs, and they're just delicious. They even got a little remoulade sauce with it. The whole meal just makes for just a spectacular burst of flavor. Then you go upstairs. You sit down. I like the Snickers cocktail. I like the Snickers martini, but they have plenty of different types of martinis upstairs. Martinis and cocktail drinks and specialty drinks and beers. And they've got it. The Starlight Lounge upstairs, Buzzard Billy's downstairs. You cannot go wrong in La Crosse. I'm telling you that right damn now.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's so bright. It's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing, and it makes it comfortable for the life we live, which is an active one.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside.
For the first time, our whole house actually feels like the same climate.
And no drafts. It's a game changer.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. And if you order today, you get 0% interest for up to 60 months. When it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows and doors, you want to be confident about your decisions. With Pella Design Works, you can see what your home could look like before you buy. Black frame windows or white, vinyl, wood, or fiberglass. Bring your vision to life and rest assured it's the perfect style for your home. Right now, get 0% interest-free financing for up to 60 months when you order by May 10th. Set your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 5/10/2024.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Golf season is here, and whether you're going to go to the Four Seasons Island Resort in the middle of the beautiful Muscano Island, right in the river, or over to Pine Mountain for Timberstone Championship Golf Course, either way, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. I love the Four Seasons. It is an eclectic place. It's a historic place. I've told you the stories before. It's where Al Capone used to take all of his guys and they'd go make their plans there. There's a 9-hole executive golf course there, big indoor pool. You've got the UTVs and the ATV trails that are open that are up there as well. Just all kinds of really cool stuff going on the island. They have the Diamond Room, really nice dining upstairs. Downstairs, go to the Boundary Water Sports Bar and Grill. You can also get food in the lounge. You can do wine flights and cheese flights, and the kids have arcades and ice cream parlors, and I go on and on and on. It's just such a cool place, and you can just go and unplug and get away and just relax and enjoy yourself. Pine Mountain, the same thing. If you want to make a reservation and you want to call and say, hey, I want to come up. Oh, by the way, I want 15% off my stay. Call up there, 715-938-5110. Tell them you heard it here. That's the way you get the 15% off. 715-938-5110. It is starting to turn beautiful up there in the Northwoods. And they're only about 15 minutes away from Iron Mountain, Michigan, 20 minutes away, which is where Pine Mountain Resort is located. And it is spectacular. So wonderful place. I can't say enough good things about it. The Four Seasons on the resort. Call them 715-938-5110. 715-938-5110. They always have something up there too. Dwight says we should do a 50s mix of music for more elderly listeners. I don't know if we have a 50s mix of music sitting around back there. We can always do that. We can mix it up. We have a lot of stuff that we've normally used, but we can certainly mix it up.
How old? If you listen to music in the 50s, and I like some really, really old music, like 60s stuff.
Yeah.
What part of our audience is still banging songs from the 50s? I guess that's so long ago now. And I'm not trying to be ageist, but it's not like, hey, throw in some 80s stuff. Like, no, the 50s, that's a little different.
And what's really bad, I realized this the other day. You know, like Mike says, he said, hey, I'm 67, but I still like metal. Somebody said they were listening to, like classic rock. And they said, and it goes back to the song, I can't remember what the name of the song was. Was Stacy's Mom's Got It Going On or something like that, or whatever the hell it was. Or 1985. 1985 was the song, I think. But when did like Motley Crue become classic rock? That's when you start to go, oh my God, I'm starting to feel a little bit old. Starting to feel a little older there. So yeah. 50s. That used to be the oldies. And now oldies for some younger people in this generation are oldies is 90s music.
Simon and Garfunkel, didn't they have another name in the 50s before they went by Simon and Garfunkel? Weren't they Tom and Jerry or something way back in the day?
Oh, God.
I'll try to find us some
no idea
good selections from the 50s. I might have to dig a little bit.
I mean, you can go back. I mean, you go back to some of the bands like the Byrds and stuff, and the Mamas and the Papas, and I mean, there was just so many bands, and then different bands that came as offshoots from them. I mean, Eric Clapton had bounced around a little bit, and it just music is, and you know what? I know there's a few people that I know that have kids that their kids love 70s rock. That's what they listen to, and they're just sophomore and junior in high school. They love 70s rock. Some people are just discovering Madonna again for the first time. A friend of mine's daughter is all into the Madonna stuff all over again. It's like, here we go. Remember the Madonna craze where everybody was dressing like Madonna, and then you went through the Pat Benatar phase, which people were dressing like Pat Benatar and the spandex shiny leggings and heels and the whole thing. And they're starting to go through that again, because it's starting to come back. So what's on my, somebody just said, what's on your iPod? Well, I don't have an iPod, but I run Spotify and Amazon Music. And what I just discovered was when I had the motorcycle redone, was that Amazon Music actually has in its settings for you to play it back in HD. It gives you high streaming quality, which sounds even better. And so I've kind of transferred over everything from my Spotify over to my, Amazon Music. And I've got a crazy mix. I've got rap, I've got rock, I've got metal. I don't really, on the motorcycle, I don't have soft listening stuff. I don't, that's not really what I do. But,
no yacht rock?
Well, I got Buffett.
Oh, okay.
I got a lot of Buffett stuff on there. But no, not a lot of yacht rock. Not like I've got, the song Sailing by Christopher Cross or anything like that. I don't have anything like that. Nothing like that's on there.
Let me ask you this. You just got a new sound system put in your bike.
Yes.
When you went to pick it up and you're like, I got to try this thing out. What was the song that you played?
what I play damn near every time. I start off with Rush, Limelight, the way we start the show, and I played Metallica Enter Sandman, the way we got rid of it. But it was when I went down the video I took, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the video was it Foreigner? I think it was either Foreigner or Queen that Tim was playing on the bike when I was taking the video of it. Foreigner or Queen. One of the two. I can't remember. But
I thought it was Another One Bites the Dust when I saw the video.
I think it's Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. So I couldn't remember if it was Jukebox Hero or Another One Bites the Dust, but I think it's Another One Bites the Dust. I think you're right. So, yeah, no, I'm not driving around on the motorcycle listening to Kenny G. I will say this, and I do have a sprinkle of country on there, too. There's certain songs that I like that are country-oriented. And I know I'm getting off into the weeds here, but the one thing, when I did a stint in country radio, and there's people in country radio I really like. I met Reba. I love Reba. I met Shania Twain. Fantastic woman. The one thing you never want to have happen as a motorcyclist, you're by yourself, you're a dude, it's cranking, you pull up to a stoplight, right? And you're kind of like in your own world. You're not paying attention. You're listening to music. You're looking at the intersection. You're watching the light. And all of a sudden you realize the guy next to you is cracking up and you don't know why. And you're like, what is this guy laughing at? You're looking around like, what's he laughing at? And then you realize you completely whiffed on stopping it when the song, Man, I Feel Like a Woman comes up. And instead, you're singing along to Shania Twain. That is like the ultimate no-no. You can't do it. There's nothing tough about you. There's nothing biker-esque about you. That's when you got to own it. I've had that happen. I looked at the guy. I shrugged my shoulders like, oh, well, I'm comfortable. And just kept going. What do you do? What do you do?
I think you have to own it at that point. I think you played that the best way to play it.
You just own it and say, what do you do? I've said for years, ever since the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing came out, I said you want to, and this is marketing 101. When you have something crazy go on that completely affects your brand, you've got to own it in a comical way, but counter. You got to own it. So I've said, if you really want to remarket and rebrand Bud Light, what you do is you either get Stone Cold Steve Austin or a guy like that, Jason Momoa, one of these guys. The commercial is simply this. They walk into the bar. They got a hot girl alongside them. Hey, let's get a drink. There's a bunch of guys drinking something else at a couple of tables off in the distance, right? The jukebox is playing. He says, my girl and I here, we'll have Bud Lights. The whole place gets silent. Like, are you kidding me? And he looks over at the table and he says, what? Like this badass what? Like, what are you going to do about it? And then everybody goes back to partying. And then at the end of the night, you see him, toasting beers and everybody's got Bud Light because they want to be like him. That's the way I would have handled it. Bud Light screwed themselves in so many different fashions. But that's the way I would have handled it. I've suggested that to them numerous times, and it fell on deaf ears. So
that's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good.
Instead, they went with Peyton Manning and Emmitt Smith, throwing beers and passes to people in bars. But that wasn't done it.
The Peyton Manning Emmitt Smith commercial wasn't totally like. It wasn't completely different from the idea that you had. It's like, no, right. We're just going to have a good time, and it's not a big deal. Yeah, what's wrong with Bud Light?
But I would have owned the mistake. And then had this Stone Cold with some hot girl go, what? And then he puts his arm around the girl. They toast, they have a drink. And then by the end of the night, they're all hanging out together. That's what I would have done.
It's not bad. That's pretty good.
I should be you know what? If I ever quit this job, I'll become a marketing director. Because it's just some things you got to just do and do right. You know what? Let's do this. So we're going to do this right because we're going to take a quick break, come back and wrap things up. Don't go anywhere. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May, score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries, 5 times the entries on drawing days, and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes, slugger? Only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I hope it never has to happen to you, but if it does and you have any kind of a fender bender, I want you to go over to our friends over at One Collision. One Collision County Line in Menominee Falls. You can call them 262-251-1700, 262-251-1700. And that's, for those that are watching on the live stream, that's my car. And last year I got kind of hit in a little bit of a road rage type of incident. And the guy kind of sideswiped to the rear quarter of the passenger and ended up taking it over to One Collision. And they did an amazing job. The best part about it was not only do they work with the insurance companies on this, they work with you on the deductible, but I was informed of everything, every step of the way, because they text you almost every day. I got a text about what was going on, whether it was parts were ordered, they had taken off the bumper cover, they were redoing that, it was in paint, body work, cleanup. I mean, every day. And it was about a week, I guess, maybe at most. I think it was like 4 days. I think I had it in there from the time they started till the time it was done. And by the time I got it back, it was like brand new. It was as clean, if not cleaner, than the day I drove it out of the showroom. It was amazing. I can't recommend them enough. That's One Collision County Line. One Collision County Line. And they're in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. Call them 262-251-1700. 262-251-1700. Again, 262-251-1700. What do we got coming up tomorrow on the program, Grant? Anything in particular?
Nothing in particular. I got some lines in the water on some certain guests, but nothing is confirmed yet. So I don't want to get out over my skis. But I mean, we'll talk Brewers for sure. I want to get some actual audio from Packers coaches today, because just reading quotes, there was a ton of good stuff, but the Packers don't stream the assistant coaches out onto their website. So I'm going to sniff around and see if we can't get some of that, because it looked really good.
We may get some stuff from our guy, Mike Clemens. So Mike might be sending us some stuff. So we'll kind of wrap all that stuff up tomorrow. Like you said, we're going to talk some Brewers. Whatever happens tonight, you got NBA, got NHL. All the playoffs continue on this evening, so we got all that coming up. But yeah, and plus, we went through Stenovich today. We should probably go back and look at a lot of the stuff that Hafley had to say as well. So maybe we'll get into that discussion tomorrow, because we really didn't kind of concentrate on a lot of that, him being the new defensive coordinator. So we'll kind of go back through that a little bit too. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. So we'll kind of contain all of that tomorrow. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is from the 414. Says, hey, unit, when you start to get into your picks this season, how are you going to pick this division if you believe that Detroit is really good, the Bears are getting better? How many wins in the division do the Packers get? That's a great question. Oh, God. I want to say split with Detroit, beat Minnesota twice. I don't know whether they're going to split with or own the Bears again. I kind of want to say they're going to beat the Bears twice again. I'm going to say 4-2 in the division. I don't know where the split's going to come. I don't know whether it's going to be Minnesota or the Bears, but they're going to sweep one of those teams and probably split with Detroit. So 4-2 in the division, which is good. We always want to see them beat the Bears twice. I mean, that's a given, but Bears got better. 4-2 in the division. I think Detroit's a good football team. Detroit probably goes 4-2 in the division as well. I still think that the Packers and the Lions are the cream of the crop in the NFC North. And both teams probably go 4-2. One of them will go 5-1. So, but that's probably pretty fair. You never want to go 3-3, But 4-2 in the division, 5-1, probably a safe bet there.
Don't you feel like even the team that wins this division loses a game, probably two at least? Like nobody's getting through this division without losing any games.
Right.
It's too good.
Yeah, I completely agree. But really good question, because I haven't got that far yet. You're already ahead of me. That's the problem. You're ahead of me in these areas because what is it? Next a week from today, they announced the NFL schedule. So we don't even we haven't even gotten that far yet. I mean, not that I really want to go opponent by opponent and on the road and at home and I got it, but I still think just all in all, the Packers 11 wins, probably fair to estimate and to expect, plus or minus 1 or 2, I guess. But I think that's a fair area to start after what they did last season. That's where the expectation is anyway.
The schedule release is so funny because it seems trivial. And I guess for a lot of folks it is. Maybe if you're planning to go to a game, the schedule release is really important. But the hardcore gamblers and the handicappers will pour through all the data, time off, consecutive days off, road versus home stretch. People really dig into this. So next week, you really start to get a good idea of little advantages and disadvantages that lay throughout the schedule. It's interesting.
And you're right, because you'll start to look at the travel. And obviously going to Brazil is a travel, what's going to happen the couple of weeks after and all that kind of stuff. But But in the grand scheme of things, I still think we go 10, 11 wins. Now, how they play out, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I still think minimum 4-2 in the division, 10, 11 wins. They'll win at least 6 to 7 more games outside of the division. That's just kind of where I'm at. That's what the expectation is. That's pretty much what it should be, to be perfectly honest with you. For where this team was this past season, especially the way the season ended, it's kind of what I expect. So I'm right there with a lot of you. Hey, real quick, our buddy Steve says, hey, regarding the Packers offense, I'm excited about this group for the following reasons. The offensive line is solid. They added depth, good, if not great, pass protection. They should have the road graders also to be able to pound the rock. Quarterback Jordan Love, say no more. Sean Clifford appears to be a good backup. And the pick of Michael Pratt from Tulane should provide maybe some competition in camp. Running back is solid group with added speed. Should be more already on a potent defense. Marshawn Lloyd is kind of the wild card here. Tight end Musgrave and Kraft could be one of the best duos, if not the best tight end tandem in the NFL. Size, speed, blocking ability. Wide receiver is a deep group with good route runners. The key is to keep Christian Watson healthy. And then watching the crew last night when they had 2 on in the 9th, I told my wife I've got a feeling Adames is going to lose one. And sure enough, he did it. My premonition worked out that way. Let's get a series win this afternoon. Right now, Brewers down 2-1 in Kansas City to the Kansas City Royals, and that is the top of the 4th right now. Top of the 4th, Brewers trailing 2-1. So that's it. That's going to do it. That's how you wrap up a day right there. Get everybody's emails in, comments in, all that kind of good stuff. Brewers update. God, we got everything. Got everything. So that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back at it again tomorrow, talking Brewers, talking Packers, NHL, NBA, all that kind of good stuff. So until we talk again.